Amazing evening, Nigerians. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Updated Precious, another day to bring on an update of the things and what they happen for inside Nigeria. And today, because you're on a challenge, me, I say, why not if not? If on a challenge local woman, she's equal to the task. So I thought, okay, you know what? Let's have that interview with Mike Arnold, former mayor of Blanco, as he be say, then they call him. So make it come tell us, wait till make it they interested in our country, compass us, we get the country. Make you can't talk to us about the things and when you think say you know about our country. You can't be like say you know about our country pastors. Abby. All right. All of the conversation and more now we will get. And we did live on air right now with Oga Arnold, and I will bring her on very quickly. But you know, see, usually the way they be our tradition, I suppose bring on her up to speed with some things and what they happen for inside the country. Until I suppose give an update of things where they share. But today, we could leave the update. We'll do another live later when I could bring on that update. Make I welcome into the studio very sharply Mike Arnold, now former mayor of Blanco and former friend to Reno Omokri, who their two don't fall out. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show. It's a pleasure
Thank
to
you.
have you here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. You were the mayor of Blanco. Okay, how long did you serve as a mayor?
I just did for 2 years. It's a small town, and it's a volunteer position. I mean, there's a small monthly stipend that just pays for basic expenses.
Oh, so it wasn't like you were a full blown politician and
I don't run for office. I run from office, but I'm a problem solver, and our small town was facing quite a few problems. It's where I chose to raise my children, and now they're raising my grandchildren, and watching the horrible politics and personal issues and just the city falling apart. So I had an agenda. I had some things I that needed to be done for the good of our community. And politics, I found, is like wading through a cesspool to try to get something good done. And I waded through the cesspool for 2 years, and I got everything that I set out to do accomplish. I fixed our water system. I fixed our roads. I balanced the budget. And what else was there to do? I didn't, I don't need to preside over.
that doesn't sound like the kind of politics we know from we know I want and understand in this part of the world. By the way, I'm sure you know that better than I do. But let's get straight to the well. You want to say something about that?
Well, it's the same here. There's self-serving people in every endeavor, and more so in politics, it seems. But there's good people too.
Awesome. So I would not love to start this interview without finding out what your interest is about Nigeria. A lot of people would wonder, you be a born man, waiting concern Nigeria matter. How Nigeria matter use they do you like this? Why now you carry our matter for head like gala they sell? So what's your interest about Nigeria really? Because it's very important to know why
Absolutely.
Nigeria.
Yeah, it's a great question. And let me be completely candid. Before 2010, I couldn't place Nigeria on a map. Didn't know anything about it. All I knew, most Americans know, is the nasty negative PR that we get, which is internet scammers and phony
Mm,
princes with pipeline deals, and maybe child soldiers and starving people. I mean, that's the only. And I talk to Americans about Nigeria all the time now, and that's the picture they have. And I was sort of tricked into going. It's a long story. The first time in 2010, I've now
hmm,
been 16 times.
hmm.
Um, but my first trip, and it was for a ministry leadership conference in Owerri, and then in Abuja. So I was there for about a month. And I have to tell you, I fell in love with the place for a lot of reasons. For one, America has been historically the greatest nation on earth, the most benevolent nation. Yes, we have our sins, we have our things that I'm not proud of, but it's been a force for good overall in the world. You can't imagine a world without America. But the values that made America great, they're hard to find here. And it took me about a week, but I realized the reason I feel sometimes more at home in Nigeria is because the values and the character of the people is so strong. And I relate to that: the faith, the family, the honor, the integrity, the entrepreneurism, the hustle. That's the makings of a great nation. And I see that there. I don't see it so much here. And more than that, it's spiritual. God gave me a word in 2010. And in 2010, it was the only nation on earth where radical Islam was being pushed back. It had a booming economy, a lot of stability. And God told me, He said, what man has long called the dark continent, I am raising to be the continent of light in our generation, with Nigeria as the vanguard. That was a clear word I got, and that's been close to my heart ever since. and then to see what's happened since then, the devastation, the attack on all that's good. um, I'm fighting for the kingdom of God, and I'm fighting for my friends and family that I feel close to, that I feel connected to there. In the kingdom of God, there is no American and Nigerian, there is no Igbo or Hausa, there is no Jew or Greek or slave or free. We're all, children of a God that's working to advance his kingdom on earth. And I believe Nigeria is the front line, and that's where I feel called. And so that's my passion. It has, period. I've never taken home anything of value other than little souvenirs or small trinkets that people have given me, that I treasure. But I've never extracted anything. I've always come, and I've always given. Currently, support now. I'm not a wealthy man at all. It's literally cost me everything. But I support, now we have 3 getting ready to open our 4th school for displaced children. Presently about 600 students, soon to be about 1,100 when we open the 4th campus. I've never taken anything. I've always given, and it's because God's called me, and because I see the potential there.
So you're saying that your interest in Nigeria is basically just driven by the call of God, not because any politician is paying you money, not because Igbo, Hausa, or Yoruba they're paying you to castigate anyone. It's just
Nobody's paying
pure
me
out
anything.
of
Nobody's
eh?
nobody's paid me anything at all. In fact, it's cost me dearly. I've been trying for years. I've begged Nigerians, help with these schools. These are your children. This is your future. And I can't. If you can tell me how to get paid by Nigerians to do this work, I'd be happy to get paid to do it. But I'm not going to deviate from the path God calls me on for any amount of money or anything. I think I proved that in October with the press conference. I expected to be killed. And I was offered great riches, and I refused it. So if anybody
Wait,
thinks,
the same press conference you had with your dear friend Reno, the one on Arise Television,
yeah,
you were to
he
be
said,
paid for it.
oh, he said, you're never going to have to worry about money again. You'll never fly coach class again. You have the bet that you're in the right circles now. So it wasn't a direct, here's a check, but it was obvious and clear that he was inviting me into a prosperous engagement with these people. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So yeah, I could have done what everybody else seems to do in the face of all that, and I could have given in, and I probably wouldn't have financial issues right now. That's what I was promised.
Right. So, you said before now, I mean, before 10 years ago, during about 2020, you knew little about Nigeria.
Nothing.
And the most you knew about Nigeria was the internet scams and all of those. And
Yeah.
now you see us as people who are very driven and all that. What created that shift?
Just time there. But my first trip, 2010, for the first week, maybe 2 weeks, my initial reaction was I felt sorry for Nigerians because of all the things that we take for granted that you lack: stable electricity, smooth roads, air conditioning, a restaurant that actually has the food that's listed on the menu and not just one, all the inconveniences. And I felt sorry for Nigerians, but it was about a week and a half in that it flipped 100%. And I started feeling sorry for us in America because we might have those conveniences, but we lack all the things that you take for granted. And those are the important things. We lack people of strong faith. We lack honor. We lack integrity. We lack entrepreneurism. America, the moral foundation, it's still there. There's still a remnant, and there's still strong people. Don't get me wrong. But it's much more abundant and dearly held in Nigeria than it is here. And I started feeling sorry for us. But it took time, and that's only grown over time. I feel deeply connected with the people in Nigeria because, again, we're all fighting the same fight, which is to advance the kingdom of God, the kingdom of love, the kingdom of truth and freedom. And I feel deeply connected that's where the front line is in the world, and that's where I'm called.
All right. So now that you've seen Nigerians, know them for who they are, I think perhaps know the different classes in Nigeria, the political class and the people. What would you say about the Nigerian people personally first before we go to our politicians? Because I like to really pick your mind on our politicians, especially those of them that are your friends that you talk so well about on your page. if you understand what I mean sarcastically. But let's just go ahead. What would you say about the Nigerian people generally?
Well, so I usually when I talk to Americans about this, I do it all the time. I think the biggest PR agent for Nigeria that there is because I'm a cheerleader. I tell a few stories. I'll just tell one right now. This was 2012, 2013. I was in Owerri with the man who became
Owerri,
Owerri, yeah, with the man who
that's in
became
Imo State.
yeah. In fact,
Awesome.
my mentor, the man that amazing man, most Christ-like man I ever met, Professor John Ofwebu, was from Owerri. He's late now. In fact, I went with his family to bury him in his village of Imbieri, which is outside of Owerri.
In Imbieri in Imo State.
I've been all through that region. But we were in Owerri. We were visiting Imo State University, which is a large campus. Professor John's friend was the vice chancellor, and we visited him. The vice chancellor wanted to take us to visit a new bookstore, which was across campus. And so we had to drive there. And so we went out of the vice chancellor's office to walk to his car, and we went through an area where it was election day on campus for student government. And there was a crowd, and they were all active and bumping into each other. You know how it is. And we went through that crowd and got in the vice chancellor's car and drove to the other side of campus to this bookstore. Well, Professor John was wearing Nigerian clothing, and this was early in my Nigerian adventures, so I would give him all of our money for the trip because he would book the transportation, the meals, the logistics, the hotels, and all that. And he had several $1,000s, US dollars, in his wallet. We're in the bookstore. A young man comes running up, sweating, holding John's wallet. It had fallen out of his pocket in the middle of that crowd.
That crowd, and he didn't notice.
Nope. And that was John. He would leave his phone and all that. This young man handed it. He didn't know who else to go to. He handed it to me, and I open it up, and I see John's ID. And I look at John. He sees it, and he turns white. I mean, for a black man to turn white, it was bad. And I hand it to him. He looks, and all the money, thousands of dollars, is still there. At that time, room, board, books, tuition for a full year is about $1,000. There was a full scholarship for the young man in this wallet. We turned around to thank him, and he was gone. He didn't even stick around for a thank you or reward. He saw it fall, he picked it up. He chased us across campus. He handed it to me, and he turned around and left. That's the Nigerians I know. I could tell a lot of stories like that. Yes, there's bad apples, but for a random young man in a crowd to do that, that to me, that speaks volumes, and it does. That's the culture, that's the character, that's how he was raised. He didn't even wait around. We would have given him a reward. We would have at least said thank you, some recognition, and he didn't care. He just did the right thing. He could have stuck it in his pocket, but he didn't. That's what makes me passionate about Nigeria, is people like.
Wow, interesting. So, what is it you know about our politicians, and why are you so interested in our politics and governance in Nigeria?
Okay, let me tell you, I don't consider myself necessarily interested in politics. I don't. And the whole party system and all that stuff is a little bit confusing to me. I don't seek to oppose any man or to advance any man. I seek to oppose evil and advance the kingdom of God. And in fact, when Tinubu was elected, I had hope. And you can look back then, I was a nobody, but I was saying, look, Tinubu, let me draw your attention to the displaced. All you have to do is recognize them. A number of things that I met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugger. I met with the Minister of Information, Muhammad Idris. I met with numerous governors, senators. I can show you my WhatsApp, Nuhu Rabadu and Senator Akpabio, all those, trying to raise awareness and get people's attention to this crisis. And it just dismissed. And when I start to see actions like your friend Omokri calling it a hoax, I mean, the reason I connected with him was to raise awareness about these issues.
So by crisis, are you saying that you've always been passionate about Christian genocide? So you have always known it as a genocide? When did you realize it was a genocide?
Since 2019. Okay. 2019 was my 10th trip to Nigeria. Now, before that, I was aware of certain things. So when it was 2011, I was in Abuja. I was in Abuja when Boko Haram bombed the UN headquarters in Abuja. I was in town. And also there was a shopping center that was bombed a year or so later in Wuse 2. I had been in that shopping center. And in fact, I was in Nigeria when they blew it up. And the next day, I was staying in a hotel around the corner from where they blew up a shopping center. Blew up a little girl selling oranges, the cowards. And so there were isolated incidents. I'd hear reports of violence in the north, but even most Nigerians, it's just that's distant. It was an anomaly. It never registered with me what was happening until 2019, my 10th trip. I had taken a team from the United States. We were traveling around the country, and I won't tell the whole story because it's long. But the fact is, we took an unexpected detour. Never intended to go there. And it's just off the main highway in Abuja, a little dirt track, and came upon an IDP camp that nothing that you've ever experienced in life could prepare you for the horrible conditions these people are living in. The government denies it exists. They call them criminals and beggars, but you get in there and talk to them.
Right there in Abuja, our capital
There's
city.
at least 8 in Abuja, at least 30,000 displaced people that are struggling to survive, denied by the government. Their camps get bulldozed. It's horrific. And I met these people. I met a woman who was a school principal in Ngoshe, of all places. And she told me her story about how she was a school principal and this was her life, her calling. And then Boko Haram came and they started killing people, slaughtering them like goats. And she and her 3 daughters escaped. A harrowing story. When they were escaping, they tracked them down and Boko Haram shot and killed a nursing mother with a 2-month-old child. And the way they were mistreated by Cameroon and put in cattle trailers and hauled back, and eventually escaped and made their way to Abuja. And she had to build her own shanty with her own 2 hands, living next to a sewage ditch. This is an educated school principal. And you know what I found her doing? And I asked her what we could do to help. She said, help me teach these children. That's the only thing she asked for. Not food, not money, not anything. She said, that's the only way these kids will get out of this camp. The only way that they're going to not be recruited by the terrorists, the only way that they're going to have future and a hope is the education. So she and 2 other volunteers had dedicated their lives at that time, 5 years they'd lived there, to teaching the children in the camp. That's why we started the school. I promised to tell her story, and that I'm still trying to fulfill that promise. Started producing a documentary film. Been back 6 times. I've been to Bokos after the Christmas massacre. I've been all over and sent a team just a little over a year ago to Ngoshe. This whole camp, that one camp, that's where they're from. They went there. We found a church there. My team did that. All of them had been destroyed, but a military chaplain in the military safe area had built a church called More Than Conquerors Christian Assembly. I correspond with that pastor. It's been destroyed this past week, and these people wiped out. And I can't get in touch with that pastor now. I fear that he's gone. But yeah, I didn't set out with, there's a genocide. I set out and randomly God led us to meet these people and start to hear their stories. And it's the truth. It's eye-opening. And so yeah, there's absolutely a genocide taking place. That's why I reached out to Omokri, was doing research. I read his book and I wanted more information. Mm-hmm. And we connected on that basis. At that time, he was saying Christian genocide, Christian genocide.
Oh, so when you reached out to him, he still maintained there was Christian genocide in Nigeria. And I bet that was a period he was, canvassing the release of Leah Sharibu too, right?
That's the reason I connected with him, because he was an advocate of trying to raise awareness of these issues. And that was the basis of our relationship up till September of last year. I can show you the messages talking about genocide, and the next day it's a hoax.
Well, just like that. Before we get to the hoax, how long did your communication with Reno Omokri last? Speaking about Christian genocide, how long did you, have that constant communication?
That was December 2023. The first time I had read his book. I didn't know who he was. He wrote a book about the Jonathan administration, and I read it a second time. I still had questions. And I Googled and found a contact page on a church in California. The page was set up in 2017, but it's the only way I found to contact him. I said, I'm working on, investigating the Christian genocide in Nigeria. I'd like to talk to you. December 23. Within 5 minutes, he messages me on WhatsApp, asks for a video call so he can know that who he's talking to. During that call, he invited me to his birthday in Kenya in the January of 2024, the next month.
Okay.
And he said all these important people will be there. And I didn't even know if they were, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know if I had stepped on the wrong toes and they were taking me there to kill me. I didn't know. But I prayed it through. I did some research and I decided to go. And that was in January of 2024. During that trip, he was very charming, and supportive of the effort. He made promises to help with my effort. And I invited him during that trip to come to, and he visited me in Blanco 2 months later. And then I traveled to Nigeria a month or so after that, April, May, and he arranged a lot of important meetings and introductions for me for the same reason, to talk about the displaced and the genocide. I had met with Goodluck Jonathan in his living room. That's where I met with Yusuf Tugger, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Information, and several other very highly placed people to talk about this stuff. And so we maintained that engagement until September of last year, when he sold his soul to the devil. And he started all this stuff I'm working on that I know to be true. He starts calling it a hoax.
Why do you insist he sold his soul to the devil? Why do you think so? Do you not think that perhaps he had a clearer interpretation of what the actual situation is, and perhaps he now realized that indeed it wasn't a genocide like the rest of our government officials insist it's not? Why do you think he sold his soul to the devil?
I know you're a journalist and you have to ask questions objectively, but I know you're joking. Because he told me many times when he went, oh, I'm going to meet with Tinubu, and then, he's offered me. He wouldn't say exactly what the appointment was, but it was known that it was an ambassador appointment. And I kept pushing the issue.
Just hang in there. He's always known that Tinubu was going to offer him an ambassadorial appointment.
I can track the exact date. Yeah, I could find the exact date when he took pictures. He was like, he publicized that he was meeting with Tinubu, but at that point it was known that there was. And so every time after that, I would try to bring up the issue. He said, "Oh, just wait until I come in my position. Just wait, and then I can do some good." And he just tabled it all. He wouldn't talk about it anymore. Look, he knows the facts. What's for example, one of the people that during this stooge tour that he took me on, it was just a day. He put me in a room with Issa Pantami. It wasn't that long before that he was calling this man a terrorist, and he is a terrorist. But Omokri, he's a charming man and he's a man of peace. Complete flip-flop, 180 degrees. He knows it's not a hoax. He's the one who told me that the official numbers of displacement were wrong, that it was more like 9 or 10 million and not 2 to 3. He's the one who told me that. He knows the truth. He doesn't care what the truth is. He cares about his stomach.
So you said you met with Nuhu Ribado. You met with
I didn't meet with Ribado. I've chatted with him on the phone.
Chatted with him. Okay. You said you've also communicated with the Minister of Information.
I met with the Minister of Information. I met with the Minister of Information.
So what is your stand on Christian genocide? I'd like to know what their stand is, and why do you insist that Nigeria still does have Christian genocide, even with their clarification? Because they keep saying it on media everywhere that there is no genocide in Nigeria. Why do you insist when the people that are the owners of the country insist that there is no genocide? Why do you insist there is no genocide?
So there's some red herrings that the Nigerian government throws out there. First of all, they say Muslims are being killed. Yes, of course they are when they get in the way. One of my schools in Abuja, the second one we built, is in a camp that is populated almost entirely by Muslims. And our school serves them. So I know it firsthand. It's a small minority. The numbers I've heard is between 15-20% of the displaced are Muslim. And I absolutely. Here's what I know, though, and this is well documented. First of all the killers, all the slaughter is people yelling Allahu Akbar. Okay, it is religiously motivated, at least by the people in the field. You know, that's what stirs them up, and that's how they send them out. Also, when they go, so there's a report, one that's documented of a bus that they pulled over at a checkpoint, and this is consistent pattern. They pulled everybody out. They separated men and women. First thing they did was kill all the Christian men.
So you think that the Christians are first of all singled out?
They sell the women into sex slavery. Then they go to the Muslim men and say, "Join us or die." And there are Muslims, and I think there should be monuments built to these people. There are Muslims that say, "No, we won't join you," and they kill them. So I know that as a fact. But here's the thing: the vast majority and the first targets are Christians, and it's on purpose. That's why it's a tenet of their faith.
Why do you think this attack is on Christian? Why do you think that Christians are targeted then? If you from your understanding of what you have studied over the years, why do you think Christians are targeted?
Because their brand of Islam says to do that they are the enemy. I've spent considerable time with, I'm sure you're familiar with Prophet Isa al-Buba. He was raised, he's a Fulani man, raised as a Muslim cleric, had memorized the Quran.
Yes, Isa al-Buba, yes, yeah. He's a Fulani man.
He told me, he said,
but a great Christian.
The way it's taught, the way I was brought up, it's an act of devotion. It's an act of worship to kill Christians, to kill white, to kill Americans, and to kill white Europeans. He said it is an act of worship. It's an act of devotion for them to do that. I can share. I mean, speaking of Ngoshe, we sent a crew there a little over a year ago. Found this church. About a month after that, the pastor of that church sent me a video, a fresh recruitment video from a little over a year ago from Ngoshe. And among this crowd were members of this church where Boko Haram, there was a crowd with included children, and they were applauding as they were beheading these men with dull axes for the sole crime of being Christian. Now, look, we know, and we call the genocide, the Holocaust in Germany was a Jewish genocide, right? What about the Gypsies? It's still a Jewish genocide, but there were also other victims. It is a Christian genocide. There are other victims, and they're not to be diminished. They should be mourned, and they should be memorialized. But it is a Christian genocide. And if you look back at the very history and the founding of Nigeria, Usman Dan Fodio, it's a jihad, a radical Islamic jihad. That's never been.
So you think this is a continuation of whatever Usman Dan Fodio did?
Yeah, you study the history. Every time the South has gotten strong or asserted themselves, it happens, and it's happened repeatedly throughout history. It's like a cat, as long as you're docile and compliant, it's soft and furry. But as soon as you wiggle the wrong way, the claws come out, and that's the way it is in Nigeria. The caliphate was never dismantled. The caliphate was built on jihad. The caliphate was built by massacring hundreds of thousands of people, enslaving millions, and it was the largest pre-colonial empire in Africa. The British never dismantled it. They just co-opted it. Indirect rule, they called it. And when they gave Nigeria independence, they left it in control. They designed it so that it's still under caliphate control. That's the enforcers, so that they could keep looting the oil. I mean, you know the history. I'm not making this up.
Sincere apologies. So why do you think that this could be happening in the 21st century? Some people will say that, whatever happened back in the days with Uthman Dan Fodio, that there can be a continuation of that in the 21st century. Why do you think, if you do believe that it is a continuation of whatever Uthman Dan Fodio did back in the days, why do you think that would even thrive or survive, in modern days?
Look at what Ahmed Bello said in 1960, that Nigeria is the estate of our great-grandfather Usman Dan Fodio. We're going to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. Buhari called for national Sharia law at any cost. He called for global Sharia law. And the power base is still the 20th generation descendant of Dan Fodio, still sitting on that throne, and nothing in Nigeria gets done without the blessing of the caliphate. Period. Nothing gets done. And you get outside of that, you die. That's just the way it's always been.
Wait, nothing gets done in Nigeria without the approval of the caliphate? Is that what you're saying? Is that your understanding of Nigeria and its governance?
I believe that is the power base, and it's designed that way. The Constitution, which was written by a northern Muslim dictator general, that Constitution that Nigeria has today was written by a northern Muslim general dictator.
Really? What's his name? Some of us Nigerians may not know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not good with names. I could, if you give me 2 seconds to pull it up, I can. But it was the outgoing.
No.
There was a dictator, and then they were handing it off to make it a democracy in 1999. There was the general that served as the last military ruler in 1999, wrote the Constitution and said, "Here you go," and it mentions Sharia, Islam, and Islamic terms 165 times in this Constitution, and
absolutely, we notice
not one Christian. The villa was built with 2 mosques and no chapel. Okay, I mean it's clearly I call it a Takia republic, that it has the illusion of a democratic regime, but there's never been an honest election.
So the Islamic term Takia, so Nigeria is like a Takia republic, where deceptive, where we're here to deceive you like it's not what it is.
Absolutely, it's the illusion of a secular democracy, but it's an Islamic regime, and I mean, just the Constitution itself, it's self-evident. It's an Islamic regime that's posing like a reverse Wakanda. It's posing as a secular democracy, but you cannot dispute any constitution that mentions Islam and Sharia 165 times, but no other religion, not Christianity, in a nation that's 50-50. That's an Islamic republic. That is an illusion. That is a lie. There is no free and fair elections in Nigeria. It hasn't ever been. And even if there were, it's jerry-rigged, it's gerrymandered so that the North has a stronger political base. There's more LGAs, more states. It was designed that way on purpose. Everything is tilted to Northern control. Always has been, since the British set it up that way on purpose.
Excuse me. Some people mentioned the name. Are you talking about Abdusalami Abubakar? Is that the man you're talking about? Referring to Nigeria's constitution.
I told you, you keep talking. I'll look at it. Like I said, I'm horrible with names, especially ones that are foreign to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's keep chatting.
It's very understandable. I didn't plan to call the names myself. I just wanted to emanate from you so that it would have been you said it and not me.
Like I said, forgive me.
Okay. So, but I mean, okay, but in all of this, Nigerians have always known our southwestern religious people to be different kind of religious people, and the southwest has been such a place where we have the Yorubas live very peacefully with their Christian neighbors, and the father could be a Christian, the mother would be a Muslim, and the children would choose any of the religion they want to. So why do you not excuse our president Tinubu? Why do you think he may be part of the jihad or whatever it is you think that Uthman said that is being, that the cost that is being pursued? Why do you think our president is part of that?
Okay, well, the acts are self-evident. First, yes, it was in 1998 that Sani Abacha dropped dead, and his successor was General Abdul Salami
Abubakar.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said,
so you think he's responsible for our constitution today, and that's why there's a preference given to Islam?
It's historical fact that he wrote it, and he just said, here it is. Put the word.
Okay, so let me let you respond to that question I asked about our president, because I have all that. There are too many questions, and I know that Nigerians also have a lot of questions to ask you. So why are you not excusing President Tinubu? He's not a Buhari. He's not a Fulani. So why are you not cutting him a slack?
Because, and here's the bottom line, and there's a lot more, but because my friends are still in that IDP camp in New Kuchingoro in the middle of Abuja, there's millions of them, millions of displaced, and all that he must do to help them is recognize them, acknowledge they exist. The international community has the funds and the mandate and the resources and everything to take care of every IDP on the face of the earth that exists. The mandate and the money is there. All they need is recognition. He refuses to acknowledge and recognize them. He's been in office for 3 years now, and their camps continue to be bulldozed. They continue to be denied, degraded, and killed because they're eyewitnesses to genocide. If he were to say, look, these displaced people are here. Will you help us take care of them? I would cut him some slack, but he's intentionally, and check it out. This is a fact. The intentional denial of aid to displaced people in this situation, that act alone constitutes genocide. Tinubu and his administration are guilty of genocide on the surface with no defense because they continue to deny, degrade, and grind down millions of displaced people without any
So
acknowledgement.
you do not think that the denial may be out of ignorance. I mean,
No, because I said
Nigeria is a big country, so they may not actually have all the information. Yes, go ahead.
That's a lie. I have told them about it. They know. I have sent back before Omokri flipped. There was a situation where the camp was threatened to be bulldozed. And I actually contacted the Minister of Communication at the time and told them of the situation. Said they're going to bulldoze this camp. They know about it. Omokri knows about it. It's self-evident. There's no way they can plead ignorance. There's just zero way. I'd like to see them try to plead ignorance in International Criminal Court, which is where they belong.
Wow. Okay, so why do you think they insist on the denial? What do you think their motive may be? If you insist that they know and they refuse to do the right thing?
Excuse me, 1 second. Let me fix that. My little filter came off my light. I was getting a little shiny there. Let me just do this. Let me encourage you. You're a journalist. You're a loud voice. I can set you up to go visit some of these camps in Abuja. Meet the people yourself. Hear their stories. The grandmother from Ngoshe who went out to try to find her son's head. They had dumped his body off. He was a Bible translator. And they captured her grandmother and put her on the back of a motorcycle. She'll still show you from over a decade ago the scars on the inside of her legs because her legs were up against the exhaust of the motorcycle. And they drove her to the Boko Haram camp, and the leader said, "Oh no, don't kill her here. The bodies are starting to stink. Take her back to her place to kill her." They told her to get back on the motorcycle. She said, "Heck no," and she ran off, and they shot her. There's a scar on her arm where they shot her. But she was able to escape, and now for a decade, she's been living in a shanty next to a sewage ditch. Why don't you go hear those stories, and then you can ask the questions to the government that need to be asked. They're being intentionally denied, degraded. The government calls them criminals, vagrants, beggars. I've met with journalists who represent the administration who I'm talking, oh, no, they're homeless, they're beggars. I have hidden camera video of a police chief who had ordered the demolition of the camp. And he said, oh, no, there's no IDPs. There's no IDPs. They're criminals. They're beggars. That's the official position. They label them criminals. But I gave a press conference with the media when we opened our 4th campus, when we laid the foundation. And I said, we serve displaced Nigerians in IDP camps in the FCT. And I can show you the video. The printed newspapers said that we serve underprivileged people in rural communities. They stripped the language out of the journalism, out of the reports. They called it. They took my words and they put something else there to hide this. That's what the government does. They deny that they exist. They call them criminals and beggars. I have a report from 2015 from the UNHCR, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, that details multiple camps in the FCT, including several where we have schools, from 2015. In 2020, when we started setting up schools, I contacted the UNHCR about this, and they said, oh, no, there's no IDP camps there. They deny they exist because the government denies they exist, and they're blocking the aid because these people are eyewitnesses. They know the truth, and their testimonies will pull down this administration.
So why is the world silent? If all of this is true, why has the world been silent until Donald Trump tweeted a couple of months ago? If this is true, that the country is keeping quiet on the massacre of its own people, especially people of a particular religion, why is the world silent?
Look, when I went back for the first time we could go back after 2019 because it was so bad, was 2021 to work on this documentary film. Went with a camera crew to film a documentary. While we were preparing to go, an Israeli documentary film crew was arrested, disappeared. They were released, but I think it was 2 days before we departed. They got back to Israel and said we were tortured every day. And we flew in to do the same thing. They suppress the truth. They lock people up for speaking about this stuff.
No, no, Mike, no, Mike. You can't. This would get to the Nigerian government. So you're accusing Nigerian government of suppressing the truth about the torture and the
Absolutely.
massacre of its own citizens. Is that what you're doing publicly?
Absolutely. They're spending, they signed a $9 million lobby deal to hide the truth in Washington, D.C. They deny any of this happens because it will bring them down. There should be Nuremberg-style trials in Nigeria, and many members of this administration would be found guilty of facilitating, hiding, and benefiting from genocide. No doubt about it. And you know what? Different people have different motivations. The Nigerian government itself issued a report a year and a half ago saying that, and in fact, who tipped me off to this was President Goodluck Jonathan in his living room in Abuja in May of 2024. He leaned in and said, look at the minerals. They're looting the minerals from the north, blood minerals. And sure enough, the Nigerian government says at least $9 billion a year in minerals are being looted from the north by the Chinese mostly. And at least 10% of that, $900 million a year, goes to pay for the corruption, to cover it up. That's what Goodluck Jonathan, and that's what this government report told me, that the Nigerian government itself issued this report. So yeah, there's people getting extremely rich off of this. And you go to the north. In fact, it was the vice chancellor at Plateau State University in Bokos, the community of the Christmas massacre. We were standing out there on a camp and said, look at the mounds of dirt. That's where these massacres took place. They go and massacre a village, and the next thing you know, the bulldozers show up and start strip mining. So it's not. There's three main factors that drive this. Radical Islam is what compels the people on the front line to swing the machetes and pull the triggers. But behind that is people getting exceptionally wealthy off of blood minerals. And there's also political realignment. As they drive these people out, they put the jihadis in there. They give them each 4 wives and tell them to reproduce. They're shifting the electoral base. That's strategic. They're looting the minerals and getting rich off it. That's strategic. And then they're using the Fulani militia as well as the other groups, the ISIS and Al Qaeda and Boko Haram, to go and be the enforcers, just like the British did back in the day. It's the same demonic machinery that's killing your country, and I'm fighting against it.
This is crazy. I haven't heard a thing like this before. But I'm moving on. Not like I haven't heard. Yeah, I would not admit hearing any of this. But moving on. I'm sure you have visited IDP camps. Nigerian government will tell you that we are certain we have an existential terrorism issue by criminal elements. That's what they will say. And this doesn't have anything to do with any particular religion or race. It is just something that some criminal elements are doing. Sir, what's your response?
Yeah, that's why they yell Allahu Akbar when they're hacking these people to death. What's there to gain by burning down a church, burning down a school?
They also burn mosque.
That's just, I believe that's first not true. Maybe 1 or 2, but not 19,000. For example, in Ngoshe, Gwoza, eyewitnesses, people that were there, they'll all tell you the same thing. All the churches were destroyed, not one mosque. Now, you never know how people, how devious. If they're going to wipe out hundreds of thousands of people, they'll do some stuff to cover their tracks. There's no doubt about it. And if there's a mosque where the imam stands up and says this is wrong, just like the ones they pull out of the bus, yeah, they'll take that person down.
Oh, so you think that the Muslims that are being attacked are Muslims who disagree with their kind of Islamic religion? Are you saying that there's no radical Muslim or no Muslim that agrees with their religion, their practice, their kind of practice that is not
anybody that agrees with them? That's the documented pattern. Absolutely. They kill the Christian men, they sell the women into sex slavery, and then they go to the Muslim men and say, join us or die. If they say, we won't join you, they kill them. If they say, oh, we'll join you, there's actually reports in some instances where they'll tell them to pull down their pants to see if they're circumcised. If they are, they'll kill them. They'll grill them on Quranic issues, and if they get it wrong, they'll kill them. So yeah, it's purity of the ideology of radical Islam that is compelling every single killing and every single abduction and every single rape and every single selling of a woman or child into sex slavery.
Well, we have a lot of Muslims. We have a lot of Muslims. We have a lot of Muslims on the IDP camps. Are you saying perhaps there are no Fulani Muslims in the IDP camps. Is that what you're
No,
trying
I'm
to
saying
say?
they're the ones that won't join. They're the ones that
Oh,
get in the
okay.
way.
Even if we have Fulani Muslims in the IDP camp, that those who refuse to join the extremist ideology or extremist views, those are the ones in the IDP camps. Is that what you're
Yeah, I
saying?
can introduce you
But
to them. Come to Abuja. I'll take you to my team. Will take you to Durumi. They're mostly survivors from Chibok, and most of them are Muslim. You can hear their stories. Don't take my word for it. Go to the source, please. I'm
I
begging
mean,
you.
you visited most of these IDP camps firsthand. What's the statistics of Christians versus Muslims in most of the IDP camps in Nigeria?
I
If you were
haven't
to get
visited all of
statistics,
them. Like I said,
okay.
there's at least 8 in Abuja. I can connect you. We have a full-time staff member who's our IDP community liaison that can give you firsthand, and he can take you to every single one of them and introduce you to all of them if you want. I can't do so much. It's certainly not anymore. I don't think I can come to Nigeria and survive. Not with this government in power.
Not with what's going on currently.
I want to go to Sokoto and visit Nnamdi Kanu in prison just to do it. And I will one of these days.
Why are you interested in Nnamdi Kanu? Because I was going to get to that conversation.
Yeah.
Why are you interested in him? Because I mean, the Nigerian government first of all proscribed his group, the indigenous people of Biafra, called them terrorists, and then he was arrested. In fact, he was what most people said kidnapped, extrajudicially rendered from Kenya to Nigeria, and he's been. I mean, the law of Nigeria right now calls him a terrorist, and that's why he's been persecuted as a terrorist. So why are you interested in the case of an alleged terrorist? That's what many would say. Did the IPOB pay you? Are they paying you to do this? Because that's the answer many would want to, to get.
And I'm separating it from the issue of Biafran separation. That's not my interest in talking about this whatsoever. But it is an indictment of the tyrannical lawlessness of this administration. Here's the facts. First of all, even Nigerian courts have said the branding of IPOB as a terrorist group is bogus. There was never any due process. It was just a proclamation, and there's no evidence to support it. The United States doesn't accept that. I don't believe any country outside of the cadre in Abuja actually believe that it's a terrorist group. They did that.
No other country has prescribed IPOB apart from Nigerian government so far, though.
And so it's, first of all, it's clearly an effort to silence them. Second, Nnamdi Kanu carries a British passport as well. He's a British citizen as well as a Nigerian citizen. He was broadcasting from London, and he was saying, people say, I'm just saying what he said. I've never studied what he said, but he obviously read the history too, and he wasn't afraid to talk about it. He was talking about history. And yes, he said some things that I don't agree with at all, but I'm not in his shoes. But the fact is, never once, and it was challenged in court over and over again, there was never once any act of violence that is traced to any word that he spoke. Not once. There's not one act of violence that they can say came about as what he said. He spoke on foreign soil. And then he went to Kenya, does not have an extradition treaty with Nigeria. He was abducted, tortured, and illegally rendered to Nigeria. The Kenyan government said it was illegal, and they protested. The international community has protested. So, they come up with a bogus label of terrorist that nobody agrees with. They grab him for saying words on foreign soil that were not traced to any violence, and then they illegally render him back. They put him on trial under a law that had been repealed. His attorney kept saying, Your Honor, what is the law? Show me the law. What are you being prosecuting for? It does not exist. There is no law under which he was prosecuted. The old law, there was no continuation clause. There was zero legal basis for his prosecution. And then he was found guilty of what? Violating what? Simply offending the government is what he.
No. They said most of the things he said ignited violence and led to the death of
never proved it.
Security agencies and individuals and
arsons.
No
law. That is called tyranny. When you can grab somebody out of another land and you can condemn them for words they said that you don't agree with, even though they're not against the law, and you can sentence that person to life in prison and transfer them to Sokoto, 700 miles from the people that were feeding him, taking care of him, 700 miles from the appeals court. Sokoto, it's throwing him in a dungeon. They grabbed a guy because they didn't like his words with no law, with no legal basis. They illegally grabbed him, a foreign citizen on foreign soil, and they throw him in a dungeon in Sokoto. That's tyranny. I don't care what tribe he's in. I don't care what he was advocating. That's tyranny. That's evil. And it's an indictment of this government. The fact that he's still in prison illegally is tyranny. That is tyranny. There is no legal justification for it. They never made the case. They never showed what law they were prosecuting. The government didn't like him, and they threw him in a dungeon, just like they did with the Israeli filmmakers.
Why do you think the government may not have liked him? Because many would say, some people who believe in him call him the prophet of their time, because most of the things he warned about the massacre of the people of Nigeria are today, the reality of most of these indigenous Nigerians. But so many would say that, I mean, is there anything he actually did speak about that hasn't come true? So what exactly is his crime? But why do you think the Nigerian government did not like him enough to ensure that he was duly persecuted?
Well, I'll talk about it in terms of physics. There's no such thing as darkness. It doesn't exist. It's the absence of light. They operate in darkness. They're evil people operating in darkness, and he was shining the light. He was speaking the truth. That, again, people say I say a lot of the same things. I never studied what he said. I couldn't recognize his voice if I heard a recording of him. I've never read any of his writings. But they say he was just teaching history. He was just pointing out the obvious about the Constitution, about the founding of Nigeria, about the whole British machinery that they put in motion. That's what he was doing. And that's a threat to the powers that be, because it's the truth. And they can't stand the truth. They can't live in the light because they are children of darkness.
So you think that the only crowds the Nigerian government, remember, we're talking about two administrations so far. The Muhammad Buhari's administration, yes, one party, you're right, Nigerian politics. Yeah, the Muhammad Buhari administration arrested him. They were responsible for that.
Helped Buhari get in office.
Why do you think the political party APC was, so you think it's just because he's saying the truth and that's it?
Yeah,
why does that truth hurt so much to the administrations, these two administrations?
There's a reason they banned the teaching of history for 15 years, because the truth will set you free. There's truth, and they don't want the people to be free. They want people to believe the lie. What's interesting, I wrote a book called Epicenter, and it's just documenting history. It's got a whole chapter of just the endnotes. It's just Nigerian history, and people are embracing it. It's like, wow, it's like an adopted child finding their birth certificate. Like, oh, look, these are my parents. Nigerians don't know their history because it was prohibited. And interestingly, the new history curriculum that Mr. Tinubu has put in place, it was written by a man whose sole qualification is he literally wrote the book titled The Islamization of Knowledge. He hired a man whose expertise is the Islamization of knowledge and put him in charge of the national curriculum. That's who wrote your history that's now being taught as of last year.
Who is the man you're talking about, please?
I can look up his name if you give me a minute.
I would always give you a minute. Speaking about the kind, why you're looking that up, he's a British citizen. Why do you think the UK was silent? The United Kingdom was quiet?
He was exposing them as well. The UK, look, I'm going to say something that I don't think you've ever seen a white man say before. I don't believe there's been a more evil empire in the history of the world than the British Empire.
Wait, let me repeat that. Make I repeat and for pidgin English, when Nigerians here. You say you not believe, say it don't dare any empire will do evil past British Empire for the whole world. That's what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah. If you look at how they did things, how do you think a little island off of Europe where it's rainy all the time became the most rich and powerful, biggest empire in the history of the world? It wasn't by being nice. It was by being brutal and by extracting. That's what they did. A lot of good came through it. What man intends for evil, God will use for good. A lot of technology, a lot of development, a lot of what we would call civilization. Certainly the missionaries that were able to go through that, they often fought against the British bureaucrats. They went in spite of it. A lot of good came through it, no doubt about it. But the residue, the leftover, and their actions were purely evil and purely self-serving. They had not a benevolent bone in their body. It was only about take. If you look at all the places where the only reason they had this independence sweep in the 50s and 60s, it was simply downsizing. Look, we can keep getting these resources without having to administer if we just prop them up and let them do the administration, and we can keep looting them. And so it was a strategic downsizing, but they left it. They chained together everywhere they went. They'd find the most opposite cultures and chain them together. Say, you're a country now. Good luck. And everywhere that those, India, Pakistan, for example, they were incompatible. There's no way they could ever coexist. And it cost 1 million lives to get them separated. How can the Christian, English-speaking, forward-thinking, entrepreneurial, unruly South ever have any unity with the Sharia law, cut your head off, North? It's impossible. And that's why the British chained them together. So they would always fight, always fail, and they could keep extracting. And that's just the way it was. Tell me why else they would have merged the two and let the administrator's girlfriend pick a name out of thin air and say, you're a country now. Good luck. And we're giving you control to the North, by the way. Good luck.
So you believe, share that opinion that Nigeria is not supposed to be one country after all?
No, I'm just saying the history. That's the fact of the history. What Nigeria goes forward, I think. Here's what I think. I think the Sharia law state should be ejected from it because they're the ones that are causing the trouble, and they're the ones that are incompatible with human civilization. That's what should happen. I don't think the Biafrans should have to take their marbles and go home. It needs to be restructured. There needs to be a new constitution, a new federation, one way or another. I'm not going to say where the boundaries should be drawn. That's not up to me. But the constitution, the federation, the whole institution of Nigeria is a corrupt fraud that's an Islamic republic hiding under the illusion of a democracy. That's just reality. Sorry if it offends anybody. Look it up if you don't believe me. Do your own research. You'll come to the same conclusion.
This is sad. So, I mean,
Is what I'm saying is the truth sad? Or are you saying it is sad?
We talked about Nnamdi Kanu and why the UK isn't helping out, and you said it's because the UK in itself, it's also evil. So, it's little or nothing they can do about it. Yes, go ahead.
This just arrived in the mail. Have you ever heard of this? It's very hard to find.
The Harold, Harold Smith.
He was a British administrator. He was a whistleblower. I just started reading it. Professor Salisu Shehu, executive secretary of the curriculum committee that Tinubu put in place. His specialty, his book that he wrote in 1999, The Islamization of Knowledge. That's who's teaching your children now. That's who's in charge of their curriculum, is a man who literally wrote the book on the Islamization of knowledge. That's who's teaching your children in this secular democracy of Nigeria. How does it make you feel that your children are being fed a curriculum written by a man whose sole purpose in life is to force feed them Islam?
So do you believe this thing that people say? Some say is a hoax, but do you believe that there is indeed an Islamization agenda of Nigeria?
It hasn't ever stopped. Absolutely. Why would they build a villa with 2 mosques and no chapel? Why would they put Islam, Sharia, and other Islamic terms in the Constitution 165 times and not one Christian term? Why is that? If you look at the NNPC headquarters, interestingly, there's different mosque styles around the world. In Nigeria, it's usually 4 towers and a dome in the middle. Go drive by the NNPC headquarters and tell me that it isn't modeled after a mosque. 4 towers with a dome-like structure in the middle. Come on. You think we're that stupid? Of course there's an Islamization agenda. That's what Muhammadu Bello said. This is the estate of our great grandfather. We're going to dip the Quran in the Atlantic Ocean. That's never stopped.
All right. You had said you met Pantami. You talked about Pantami and all that, and you said that Reno Omokri had always believed that Pantami is an extremist and all that. What was your view of him? We know all that, but how did you come to this realization, and what did you think changed Reno Omokri's mindset towards Pantami?
Are you kidding? It's his stomach. He was going from calling Tinubu a drug lord. I have the facts. Challenge me in court. I'll prove it in court. He's unfit for office. He has bad teeth and he smells bad. And all of a sudden he gets dangled an ambassadorship. There's also posts. You can look it up on go search his feed. Issa Pantami is a terrorist. He said so himself. He's a guy, he's on the, you know the facts. He's on the record saying, of course, we all celebrate whenever unbelievers are being killed. That guy. He's never retracted that statement. He said, Osama bin Laden is a better Muslim than me. That's the guy. So, yeah, I'm not making that up. By his own words and his own admission, he's what civilized people would call a terrorist. For his people, he's an Islamic hero. But for people that want to live with their own belief system, he's a terrorist.
All right. So going back to your friend Reno Omokri before we get back to our president, because
he was a friendly acquaintance. Okay.
So going back to your friendly acquaintance Reno Omokri, yes, yeah, former friend. You said money happened to him, but to what extent? I don't know, because there's a lot that has been going on. He's been trying to convince people lately about voting for the president for a second term. I'm sure you've seen all of those.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a revered ambassador to Brazil. And you have,
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, the wonderful country of Mexico. Yes, and you have also said a lot of things that's not quite pleasant about his being posted or his posting to Mexico. Why are you saying those things?
Because it's the truth. Mexico is the
14th
largest nation on earth, and of the top 14, it has the lowest population of Nigerians anywhere. The man he called the drug lord president, and the facts back that up. At least back in the United States, he was deeply involved in illicit drug trade. That man sends him to the narco capital of the world. That is the cartel capital. That's interesting. The lowest Nigerian population and the highest drug corruption. Now he's an ambassador there. I think it was just getting him out of the way. I don't think Tinubu has any respect for him, because how can you respect somebody that you can buy so cheaply? He's a cheap prostitute. And so he's just sending him to Mexico to get him out of the way.
No, Vex. You say Reno on a cheap prostitute. And Tinubu doesn't respect him. That's why he posted him to Mexico.
Absolutely.
Mexico.
He's a pawn. He's a puppet. He'll Tinubu could say, okay, I want you to go out tomorrow and lick an ostrich's anus. And Omokri would be posting about licking ostrich's anuses. That's the kind of human being he is.
No, but surely people say things. I mean, I'm sure you would have seen the interview that Daniel Bwala had. People say things that they outgrow. They later realize that it's not the truth. So maybe he said those things about our president and realized that no, I was wrong here, and I've outgrown this perception, and I think differently now. Do you not think so?
Absolutely not. If you look at the people who are doing that, they're the ones that have a reputation for being soulless, self-seeking scumbags. Everybody I know, and I know some very well placed, very, very, very well placed people in Nigeria. I mean, the top of the top that work behind the scenes, and they all say the same thing, universally across the board. They've never seen a more sleazy, thuggish regime than Tinubu. They say he's just a brutal gangland thug, and they'll go into, like they tried to do with me. Here's a blessing and a curse. We can kill you and your family and take everything you've ever loved and destroy it, or we can cut you in and make you a millionaire. Which is it? Most people would go along with them under that scenario. That's how they control. That's just how they control. And I'm the only one that I know of that said, stick it. I'm telling the truth. When I went to that press conference, I had multiple advisors. I only had a week lead time. Multiple advisors, high-placed advisors said, they're going to kill you if you do that. And I updated my will, and I had a farewell dinner with my wife and children before I left, because I expected to be killed for speaking the truth. And not too many people would do that. I understand I'm probably insane for doing that, but to me, I felt God calling me. And I did what I did, and God has used it greatly. It had more than 3.2 billion impressions in 72 hours, and the insiders in Washington say that was the reason Trump bombed Nigeria on Christmas Day, was because of that press conference and the results of it. So yeah, God used me, but it took me risking my life and turning down a fortune. And if more Nigerians had the courage to do that, I think this government would be gone overnight. I think if there was free and fair, and that's what I'm calling on President Trump now, and I just wrote a memo to him, saying, look, you can flip Nigeria like you're doing in Iran and like you're doing in
I have seen you call Venezuela and Iran situation on Nigeria, and Nigerians are worried. Why would you wish Nigeria what has happened to Venezuela and
I
Nigeria?
don't
I
know
mean,
what I'm saying.
our president is just an innocent man who hasn't done anything bad. He's, so why
He's a
would
drug
you wish that
dealing
kind of things
thug.
on Nigeria?
No, I'm not wishing. You didn't let me finish. I said what I'm telling Trump is he can accomplish the same things without firing a shot. All he needs to do is assure a free and fair election in Nigeria. That's all he must do. And he does that, all the thugs are gone. Nobody has any love for him. Come on, a country of 230 million people, and they only count 8 million votes for this guy? 8 million out of 230 million.
So what makes you think that now that he has over 30 governors on his side, that if there's a free and fair election, our president will not win? What makes you think so?
Because look at it. Even in Iran, where they have had total control, when these thugs have their back broken, the people celebrate. They cheer. They celebrate. Everywhere I go, I guarantee you, watch and see. If there is a free and fair election that is rigorously enforced, all 178,000 polling locations have monitors and all that, which is doable. It's been done in other countries. I don't think Tinubu would even carry. He certainly didn't carry Lagos. He wouldn't even carry the North or anywhere. Nobody believes in this administration other than the ones that are getting paid off. And when just from the looted minerals, there's $900 million a year to go around. Add in all the other looting, it's certainly in the billions of dollars a year. That's a big war chest to buy buses and to build things and buy people estates and give them money, to give them ambassadorships. That's how the game is played. You know that. You've been there longer than me. You're just playing with me now.
Okay, so going back to talk about that, it's okay. I'm letting you. For me, ignore the fact that I'm a journalist. I know nothing about Nigeria and its politics. I just like to hear from you and your view. Let's assume that I don't know anything, and I choose not to know
I'm giving you
anything.
some
And I'm
good
sure you
sound bites.
understand. And you understand. I'm sure you understand why I don't know anything.
I know.
Awesome.
But I'm giving you some great sound bites too. This one will go far, won't it?
Thank you so much. But then, I mean, our president came in, and this administration has said it's taking bold steps and bold decisions that no other president since inception of this country has been bold enough to take. He wiped off the fuel subsidy that have had some cabal sucking off and sucking dry this country from whatever it is that subsidy had presented at that time and impoverishing the vast majority of Nigerians. That was a bold step that nobody had taken before. He also did normalize. He also did float. Yes, he also did float the naira. Yes, so he also did. You praised him, yeah. So he also did. Awesome. So he also did float the naira. I mean, incredible. So that let the naira have its own fighting rights. And I mean, we've practically almost removed subsidy from electricity, even though I still doubt that because the past administration had said they had removed subsidy from electricity before. You can just Google it. President Muhammad Buhari's administration said they had systematically removed subsidy from electricity. They had said that before, so I don't know why we're still removing subsidy again from electricity. But I mean, but he's done that, and these are bold steps that no one else has taken. So, what is your grounds with our dear president? If he's done these things that you said you lauded him for before, what's your problem with him?
Here's the fundamental question. Okay. Yes, those are textbook steps that should improve the economy, right? And I praised the removal of fuel subsidy. I praised the floating of the naira at the time. Now, but the fundamental question is this: okay, here's this inefficient machine. We're making it more efficient, so there's more to go around, but it's not going around. It's just being sucked up by the people at the top. Yes, maybe the economy is more efficient, but it's only the people are getting worse and worse and worse. The standard of living, the ability to make ends meet for the average Nigerian is only going down under his term. There's more money in the economy, but it's all going to him and his cronies. It's pretty slick political move. If you ask me, look, I'm a reformer. Of course, I'm taking more from you now, and we're getting richer, but I reformed it. They reformed it. It's a slick, cynical political move to further enrich themselves. Let's make this machine.
So you think that the proceeds of the oil subsidy removal is not properly utilized to benefit the Nigerians?
Living better now, under 11 years of this party. I remember when I started coming in 2010, the naira was like 165 to $1. The economy was growing at 8 to 10% a year. If that would have continued, Nigeria would be a premier nation on earth. It's been run into the gutter. And now, oh, look, we're improving things. Well, you took it to the gutter to begin with, and your improvements are only benefiting you and your cronies. How is that an improvement? The people in the camps, the people on the street, the average
Well,
Nigerian.
how do you know people in his camps are even benefiting? Because they may say that they also, because he said these are painful steps that are necessary. What makes you think he's also not enduring the same painful steps?
The guy just went in public wearing a watch worth 300 million naira. You know how many
The president
schools
has so much money. The wife has once told us that they are too rich that they don't need Nigerians' money. You see that? I'm sure you
Ahab
would
and
have heard that
Jezebel.
before.
Ahab and Jezebel. That's who the president and the first lady are. If you look biblically,
You say?
Absolutely. Ahab and Jezebel. That's who's in charge of Nigeria. The spirit, the same. I mean, look it up in the Bible. Tell me that it's not eerily parallel.
No, that's an unfair thing to say. I mean, people would say you should respect our country and its leaders. It's.
I would respect your country's leader if he would acknowledge the displaced people. Instead, he grinds them under his boot. There's no respect given to that. That's a despicable human being. Respect is how he keeps people in check. Bow to me, call me your honor. He's not honorable. He's despicable. I have no respect for the president.
So if our president today recognized the people in the IDP and recognized that the country has a war at its, that it's handling, would you change your perception of him?
If he were to speak the truth and he were to help the people and actually do what he can to end this genocide, instead of his Nuhu Badu arming Mayedi Allah, calling the terrorists his brothers, and if he were to actually clean house and benefit the people and serve the people in the camps that they deny exists, he could win a Nobel Prize. The opportunity's there, but no, he just cares about himself and his cronies and his own bank account, and that's it. That's it. I call him to repentance, and I will celebrate if he does, but that's what it would take, is repentance, actions. Fruits of repentance is identifying, helping the IDPs, seeking justice, seeking restoration. No great nation can be built on a foundation of injustice, and he is the engineer of the foundation of injustice, and he's benefiting from it. So there's no respect, but there's room to repent, and if he does, I will celebrate it. I will celebrate it. I will if he gets the displaced people back home safely, instead of luring them in so they could be slaughtered like happened in Ngosha last week. If he does that, I will nominate him for the Nobel Prize, if he truly does that. But he doesn't have it in him because he's an evil, selfish thug, and he doesn't have it in him.
Oh my goodness. So
I'm glad I'm in the United States, because I would have probably been killed by now saying this stuff, but it's the truth. It's the truth.
Okay, I mean, it's a concern. Surely, I do believe that the president is also very concerned about returning the displaced people back to their homes. I do believe that he's that concerned.
Stop calling them criminals. Stop denying they exist. Stop baiting them to come home. Declaring, oh, Boko Haram's defeated. It's safe to come home. Here's $300. Come home. And they're all slaughtered. All slaughtered. That happened this week in Ngosha. The same home of the people in the camp that I can take you to in Abuja. If you're a journalist, and you are, go to Abuja, go to the camps, interview them. It'll change your whole worldview overnight. You'll see.
Don't worry. We know some of these things already. But is that enough? Because I saw some of the memes you had made out of our president, and that's a little bit below the line. Is that enough for you to make those memes about drugs with him and the Rwandan president and all of this? Is that enough? And people would say that. I think there is a deliberate attempt by you, to drive a smear campaign on our president.
Look, the fact is, he's a despicable human being, and people are dying under his watch by his intentional neglect. Look, you know the name Dietrich Bonhoeffer? He was a Lutheran pastor in Germany in World War II, and he was imprisoned and then hung, strangled to death for speaking the truth. Okay. Yes. I admire the guy, and I think if he lived today with the technology we have, he'd be probably doing similar stuff that I'm doing. Are you familiar with the story? I think there's in the United States, it's a common childhood story. The Emperor's New Clothes. I'm pointing out that your emperor is naked, and I'm doing it with humor. because humor is kryptonite to tyrants. Humor is kryptonite to tyrants. And I'm not doing it flippantly. I'm not doing it for cheap thrills. I'm doing it to strip the illusion of integrity and honor off of this dishonorable man, so that people might see that he's indeed naked and wake up. Yeah, so I'm using humor because it's kryptonite. They can't stand it. Look, I'm just some dude from Blanco, Texas, the middle of nowhere, and the presidential administration is now making statements. When I say something, they come out and counter it. Okay, I got under their skin, so something's working.
Oh yes, I saw that statement you made about him having stage 3 cancer and all that, but they refuted it. They said it's a lie. Why did you spread? So again, that's what people will say. People will say, why did you spread lies? If you know it's a lie, why did you spread lies? Why would you say president?
No, okay. It's a fact that I didn't report it as a fact. First of all, I reported the fact that insiders are saying that. Insiders have been told that. Insiders that I know people very close that report to me say it's a well-known fact that it was over a year ago that it was said that he had stage 3 cancer. You can look. Why do you think his clothes don't fit him? He's wasting away. Nigerian presidency historically in recent decades has been like a convalescent home for over-the-hill dictators where they go to get their treatment and die. I mean, Buhari the same.
No, we just had Buhari in that. We just had Buhari.
And then before that, how did Goodluck Jonathan get the presidency? It was because the other one got sick and died. They kick them up to the villa so they can get their cancer treatment because they earn their way up to be on. I mean, it's a hospice. It seems like the presidency is hospice for sick dictators. At least that's the pattern, and I don't think it's being broken with Tinubu. I can't hear you.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Again, if you read what I said, I didn't say it as fact. I said the fact is, it's being circulated. And it is. That's what
you said. Some insiders say. In fact, you said that you had also mentioned that within the villa that it is no longer if that the statement the statement around whether it is and if there is a condition like that is no longer a question, because it's now known to a lot of people in the villa that the if it's out of the way. That means it's actually confirmed that it's true. But they have said that it's not true.
They've said a lot of things. Okay, do you believe a word that comes out of his mouth? You'd be fooled to do it. It's like Omokri. How do you know that they're lying? It's because their lips are moving. He wouldn't know the truth if it bit him in the backside. There's no truth in this administration. They're spending millions of taxpayer dollars to hide the truth in the United States. They live in lies. They live in darkness, and humor is kryptonite, and light will banish the darkness. So I will speak the truth until the darkness is gone.
I mean, so AFP had accused this administration of paying for ransom for the rescue of the St. Mary's Catholic school children. The administration has also denied that. I'd like to take your opinion on it.
I don't have anything that I don't know. If I don't know something, I don't speculate. Okay. If I know something, I'll say it. If I'm pretty sure about it, I'll say I'm pretty sure about it. I don't make statements that I can't validate. And I don't know anything about that payment of ransom. I'm not surprised if they did, but I can't comment on it because I don't know.
All right. I'll be opening the phone line shortly, and Nigerians will be jumping in. There are a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions to ask you, and I do wish that I'm not the one asking these questions directly, so that I'll have fun listening to your response and all that to the conversation. But going back to some things that you have said, both in the past and present, let me drop a few of your tweets here, where you did say quite a couple of things, and this is the reason why people think they're a bit offensive. There was something you said here. I'm sure you are familiar to this. Except I'm in disagreement to this. The Sultan of Sokoto, they are presiding over genocide, mass displacement. What has the Sultan got to do with this? He is not the president of Nigeria, sir.
No, you see, he's the power behind the throne, and you know that.
Power behind which throne? He made Tinubu president.
Tinubu wouldn't be president if the Sultan didn't want it. Do you think that he is Pope and King to 108 million Muslims? He's the 20th generation heir of Usman Dan Fodio. Okay. He was, before he took the throne of being the Sultan, and he was an odd pick because I think he was the youngest of like 30 children. He's among the youngest, if not the youngest. He was a brigadier general in the Nigerian military, in intel. He was stationed in Pakistan in the early 2000s, the war on terror, accredited to Afghanistan and Iran. That means he was in Pakistan, Iran, and Afghanistan. At that same time, the Americans were capturing Taliban units with Nigerian fighters embedded with them at the same time that the Sultan was a general there. He came back in 2006 and took the throne. After that time, you can track it, that's when the terrorist groups in Nigeria started using international tactics. They started the sophisticated kidnapping. They started the IEDs. They started the suicide bombs. Had never been here before. That came from the Taliban. And then ISIS and Al-Qaeda come and set up shop in his territory under his nose. He has never once spoken against the genocide. He's never once spoken against the looting of minerals in his kingdom. He has said not one person is killed that the traditional rulers don't know about it. And if that's true, then he knows about these killings. He certainly has the moral authority and the position to be able to come out and say, this is evil, it must stop. Do not kill that. If you kill this, you're excommunicated.
Oh.
He's done nothing to stop it, and every evidence points to him engineering it. I'm not saying he did, but the evidence points to it, and I've called on international community to investigate him for being an architect of the genocide because the evidence points to it. And he has.
Do you think that's the reason why the U.S. bombed Sokoto first?
Well, of course. Why would they bomb Sokoto otherwise? And I also named Mayedi Allah and the new Smith-Moore bill as an entity of concern, and there's sanctions. And guess who's the chairman of Mayedi Allah? The Sultan. They're on to him. And I think the days are numbered that he can get away with it. Now, again, I'm just saying the evidence points that direction. The U.S. is on to it. I don't know if he's guilty or not, but he certainly is not innocent because he hasn't done anything to stop it. He's done nothing to help the displaced. He's done nothing to stop the looting of the minerals in his kingdom where he is Pope and King. He's done nothing to stop it, nothing to speak against it. So yeah, that's complicity at least, if not cowardice. So he's either the weakest Muslim ruler in the history of the world because he wants it to stop and is powerless to stop it, or he's complicit. I don't see that there's a third option there. So which is it? Is he weak and powerless but really a good guy, or is he complicit? Is there a third option of why he's done nothing, why he hasn't spoken up in all these years? Is there a third option? I'd like.
So you think that a statement by Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, the Sultan of Sokoto, condemning the act of terrorism would have curbed the act in itself substantially? Is that what you're saying?
If he were to, absolutely. If he wanted to stop, it would stop. He's a brigadier general. Come on. He rules over the entire religious infrastructure, all the imams and everything, all the Sharia states. He's the final say in everything. If he wanted it to stop, it would stop. Or
terrorism in Nigeria. But you know that what we have in Nigeria is not outright terrorism. Let me explain them. You know, we have the ones that are the full-blown terrorists, the ISWAPs and Boko Harams. But then we have these other ones that Sheikh Gumi says they are just agitators because they are angry that the government abandoned them, and they are called the bandits. So those ones, they're just criminals that are angry that government abandoned them, and they're using kidnappings to do business. But those people actually kill because they kill some of their captives, and they also go to communities and kill and also capture people at the same time. You know that? So they kill a lot of people too. But we say they are bandits. Looks like it's some sort of soft name or pet name for them. Then we also have other people we call the people that mostly the Middle Beltons have attributed most of their killings to. Those are the armed Fulani headsmen. Those are the people that they say they come into their villages and they kill them in their numbers. So which of these people do you think that the Sultan of Sokoto would have been able to control if he had made a statement?
They all do it shouting Allahu Akbar. They're all devout. and they all have an imam that stirs them up. And if he were to, and Islam means submission, they must obey. If he were to come out as the paramount ruler, the highest Muslim, the head of all the imams and all the traditional rulers, and
He's the head of Islam in Nigeria.
if
Yes.
he were to say, this stops now, and if you know anybody that's participating in this, you report them and we'll take care of them with our justice, with our Sharia system. We will stop this. He could stop it overnight. Anybody that doubts that is brain dead. He could stop it overnight if he wanted to, if he wasn't benefiting from the blood mineral trade, if he wasn't trying to continue and make Nigeria the state of his great grandfather, Usman Dan Fodio, the caliphate that was built on jihad, the caliphate that was built on slavery, the caliphate was built on wiping out everybody that stood in their way. He's the 20th generation successor. If he wanted it to stop, it would stop. If he wanted it to stop, at least there'd be a hint that he wanted it to stop. At least there'd be a statement. Yeah, he's either the weakest, most cowardly Muslim ruler in the history of the world, or he's fully knowledgeable and complicit. I don't see another way. And if there's another way, maybe they have a gun to his head and say, we'll kill you if you do anything. But again, that would make him the weakest Muslim ruler in the history of the world. So he's either pathetically weak or he's a terrorist himself. I don't see another way. And if there is another way, I encourage him to please come out and tell us. Because the U.S. is now looking right down his back, okay? They've named Mayedi a lot with him as the chairman. They bombed Sokoto on purpose. The heat's on. Come out and come clean, Mr. Sultan. If you're really innocent in this, if you're not the architect of this, if you're not benefiting from this, now's the time to come out and prove it before more tomahawk missiles head towards Sokoto.
So you are challenging the Sultan of Sokoto that if he is innocent of the attacks in Nigeria and the killings in Nigeria, he should come out immediately and condemn all the killings if he's innocent.
Don't you think? If he cares about the people, lots of the displaced, millions of displaced are his subjects. What has he done to help them? The minerals being looted are coming from his domain. What's he doing to stop it if he's not benefiting? They're stealing, they're picking his pocket and they're killing his people and driving him off his land, and he says nothing? Come on.
All right. I mean, you did this. That's one of your works, and you just keep going on and on and on. So
that was Sheikh Gumi who posted that. I just put the correct picture in there for him. He obviously selected the wrong picture when he made that post.
So what's your grounds of Sheikh Gumi?
Come on.
Well, I mean, we'll touch on Saad Abubakar, we'll touch on our dear president. What's your grounds of Sheikh Gumi? Before we get back to your accusation and relating our president to drug dealing, our president is the president of our country and doesn't have any business with drugs. Why are you relating him to those things when you do those your memes? Why? You disrespect our president, and that's one of the reasons I called you.
I disrespect your president. I disrespect.
Yes. Why do you do so? Why do you disrespect our president?
Because he's a criminal tyrant that it has his boot on the throats of the people. He is suppressing the displaced. These are my friends in these camps that only want to go home. They only want to live in peace. They were peaceful, prosperous, professional people.
But he didn't start this. He only took over. I mean, this whole incident started before him, before he took over, and it takes time. The Nigerian government has often explained that the insecurity in Nigeria is hydra-headed. It's not something that you just can handle immediately. So perhaps he's working on it. Why don't you just cut him some slack and give him some time to see his work come to fruition?
He's had 3 years, first of all. It's only gotten worse. He is not all he has to do is say a word to recognize the displaced. But in the meantime, the NSJ, national security joke, Bugsy Rabadu, I call him that because here's the head of the intel apparatus.
Yes, our national security advisor.
What an incompetent fool that man is. It's proven that he was arming Mayedi Allah, the Fulani group. And the same people were found. They found the ID cards in some of these attacked villages. He is arming the terrorists, and then he comes out and calls them his brothers. That's Rabadu. Oh, by the way, Rabadu Omokri said he was going to run for president with Omokri as vice president in 2032. That's part of this. That's bigger picture, which I think is ridiculous. But Omokri wants to be vice president and then president someday. But look, they're largely responsible for what's happening. He can't manage his own house. Even if, say, he wanted it to end, why are they lying to Washington? Why are they saying we got it under control when people negotiate that they pay to come home didn't get slaughtered? Okay, that's under his watch. It's 100% his responsibility. He could stop it if he were to be honest and ask for help. It could be stopped. If the Sultan wanted it to be stopped, it could be stopped. They don't want it to be stopped. They benefit from it. And so, no, I have no respect for that. I will continue to disrespect them and make fun of them and mock them and ridicule them, him and the Sultan, because they're not respectable. They're criminals. I would have made fun of Adolf Hitler in World War II. I would hope you would have also. I would have mocked him because it's the illusion of honor that keeps people in check. The Emperor of Nigeria has no clothes, and I will keep pointing it out until the people wake up.
Okay, so we've also seen you condemn the religion a couple of times, a particular religion, and people say that you are as much religiously intolerant as you say others are. Why do you keep condemning a particular religion and keep associating them with all sorts of things going on in
If you
Nigeria?
study, first of all, Islam means submission, right? Okay, that's what the word means, and they hold up Muhammad to be the perfect man. If you study the Quran, it's the story of how he conquered, how he went into Medina as this minority group that was persecuted and played the victim and got other victims groups together and little by little bumped them off and took control of the government and killed anybody that got in his way. He married a 6-year-old girl, had sex with her when she was 9. This is what they believe. This is their teaching. And the ones that follow that obediently are the ones that are beheading people and raping children, because that's what he did, the perfect man. I'm just quoting, I'm not casting stones. I'm reading the book and saying what it says. And so, yeah, the faithful obedience to follow in their founders' footsteps, that's all you're seeing play out there. Now, there are those that don't subscribe to that, and they're victims too. But the fact is, those are considered apostate. The ones they kill, the Muslims they kill, are considered apostate because they don't follow the Muslim teachings, which is taqiyya, jizya, and jihad. That is the basis, and that's how they seek to bring submission to the earth. That's how they can kill Deborah Samuel. Why? Because she said Jesus is the greatest on a WhatsApp chat.
She didn't abuse anybody. She just says Jesus was the greatest.
22-year-old girl, one of 7 children, the only one that they could afford to send to college. She was in her 2nd year of college. She passed finals. Other people were saying all of this and all of that. And she said, Jesus is the greatest. The next day, she was pulled out. She was beaten, stoned, tires heaped on her, and she was burned while they filmed selfies while professors and police were watching. And there's an outcry. They arrest 2 people. In response, they burned 3 churches to protest these 2 arrests. The 34 Muslim attorneys show up to defend them.
Senior advocates of Nigeria.
The prosecutor never shows up. It goes AWOL, and they're released. And the deputy chief imam of the national mosques defends them and says that what they did was justified. So, yeah, I'll throw stones at that ideology. It's a demonic ideology that allows that to happen, that celebrates it and justifies it. And you can look on my posts, all of the ones that are also friends with Gumi and all, they're on there defending it. Well, of course, we're the religion of peace. If you say otherwise, we'll have to kill you because we're the religion of peace. If they didn't have the faith element attached to that, those people would be locked up on any civilization on earth as being criminally insane. But because they call it a religion, they get celebrated. It's criminal insanity. Truly, it's malignant narcissism with a violent tendency to say, oh, I'm so perfect and peaceful. You say otherwise, I'll cut your head off because I'm perfect and peaceful. That is psychotic. But that's exactly what they do. And that's why Deborah Samuel's dead, and there's no justice, and the killers still get celebrated today in that community and defended in that community because it's criminal insanity. But that's what they teach. That's who they are. There are those who are apostate that are peaceful, but they're apostate. They're not faithful. They're not obedient to the writings because the writings tell them to do those things. Deborah Samuel was killed by faithful people following their holy book. And they're defended and supported by people that are faithful and following their holy book. That's just a fact. Correct me if I'm wrong, but read it before you do, because she's dead and nobody's been held accountable. That's the fact. That's the reality. You can't argue that. And it continues. It keeps going on.
Nigeria's phone lines are open 0817.
I left you speechless, didn't I?
It's okay. No, you did. You. Maybe we'll get to talk after this. 081702940077. That's the number to call. You can only reach this number via WhatsApp alone. 081702940077. Or you follow the link on the pin post, and the link will bring you straight into the studio to join the conversation. Now, the United States of America has been involved so far in what's going on in Nigeria. The U.S. Congress has, they led by Congressman Riley Moore, did a proper review of the crisis in Nigeria and submitted that review, including some recommendations to the President of the United States, Donald Trump. And one of the critical things they mentioned in that review is that Sharia law has to end in Nigeria. And a lot of Muslims have come out to say that, in fact, there are Muslims who have said that Nigeria will rather secede than Sharia law to end in Nigeria. And some people have said, who gives the United States the audacity? Who made them the head prefect of the world? Who gave them the audacity to come to Nigeria to tell us how to operate our own laws? I mean, these laws you're talking about are enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why are they so concerned about our own laws when it is constitutional? Like Gumi will tell you that we've never had issues, that the Christians and Muslims have always lived very peacefully. They've never had a problem. How do you see your president pursuing some of the recommendations by the Congress?
Well, first of all, you have to look at history. Adolf Hitler never violated the German Constitution. He just wrote it the way he wanted it. The Holocaust, all of that, never violated the Constitution. What gave the world the right to go in there and end the Holocaust? That's the question you're asking. And I would say the same moral justification that we have today is it was an evil on the face of the earth. The stated ambition of the jihadis in Nigeria is to take over the country and use it and its $1 trillion in minerals as a base to take the jihad global. They want to raise the black flag of jihad in every nation on earth. It is a defensive and it is protecting the innocent. It is a righteous use of power. Trump is not going to set up shop or any of that. He's not trying to get his person in. He's trying to get the evil people out. He has ended 8 wars, and he is ending the global assault of radical jihadis. I think that's righteous. I think he's ordained by God.
You think that's what he's doing with Iran?
I think that ask the people of Iran. They support it. When a brutal dictator that's massacring their own citizens, that is trying to build a nuclear bomb with the stated intention of wiping U.S. and Israel off the face of the earth. If it's not in the U.S. best interest to stop that, if it's not in the global best interest to stop that, then you don't understand world affairs. He's doing a service to the world by ending this cancer in these places. That's what he's doing. He's ending a cancer that was fit to metastasize. And he should win every Nobel Prize that's ever offered from here on out for doing what he's doing. I believe that.
But a lot of people will tell you that we've also seen the White House frolicking and making friends with some people that they had once put a bounty on their heads and called them terrorists. Why would you turn around, call someone a terrorist, put a bounty on their head, and then you still welcome them to the White House? You know the case I'm talking about.
Yeah. So you know what? I can't answer that. I don't. I'm a pretty good chess player, but I'm not a grandmaster. I think Trump is. And judge a tree by its fruit. And so far, what he's done in just a year ended 8 wars. He's working to end Christian genocide, and he's working to end the greatest threats to our civilization on this earth that there is. And that's going to be his legacy. He's doing heroic work. I don't believe in everything he did. I was very much against him when he first ran for president. I'm not a party loyalist. I'm not a MAGA Kool-Aid drinker. But he's doing good things, and I support those good things.
So do you see Donald Trump, your president, pursuing the recommendations by the U.S., by the congressman to the letter?
these gears turn slower than I would like. It's the reality of it. I don't know how long, and I'm sure it's a long time they worked on the plans regarding Iran and Venezuela and these other places. I think Nigeria is newer on his radar screen. And it's funny, after he came out and did the guns ablazing thing, which was 2 weeks after my press conference, and everybody says it was directly related. Afterwards, oh yay, 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 and then 2 weeks later, oh, he's taking too long. Oh, he's never going to come. Then he bombed Sokoto, yay, 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 and then 2 weeks later, oh, he's taking too long. The Nigerian people are impatient. I get that. I would be too, and I'm a little impatient, but I believe he's on the right path. I know the people that are working on this in Washington: Riley Moore, Chris Smith, Ted Cruz, the people at the
Yes.
and they're good people, and they're doing. They know the truth. They know the truth of this government. They know the truth of what's happening there. That's why this bill is so strong. And several of my points that I've been pushing made it into the bill. But these things take time. And in the meantime, I think he's got Tinubu by the throat. I would guess that's why the 2,500 pages of DEA documents haven't been released, even though it was ordered by.
I was going to say that. I mean, if he's so sincere in fighting, I mean, he should as well go ahead and ensure that the courts in the United States mandate the FBI and the EIA to go ahead and release all the documents they need to release. Why is that not happening?
Look, I think he'll do it at the right time. Trump doesn't pick people, he backs people. And there's not a leader that's emerged in Nigeria. There's not a movement that's emerged in Nigeria like there is in Iran and Venezuela that he can get behind. The people are too scared. There's not a leader on the scene today that is doing anything other than occasionally.
Well, most Americans think he's a bully. Most Americans are not in support of what he's doing.
Of Trump?
Some people say he may even face impeachment with the way he's going about it.
You don't understand American politics. America is an unruly place where we are a democracy, and we have bitter disagreements amongst ourselves. There's no doubt about it. But there's also people that are mentally ill and brainwashed that have been empowered. I mean, people that look, seriously. That's what, starting from the beginning. Oftentimes, I feel more at home in Nigeria than I do in the United States. The people I know, people I associate with, the people I work with, doing a sex change operation on a 6-year-old is deeply satanic and evil and should never be even talked about. It's disgusting. But there's people that advocate for that, and they vote, and they get and they have the right to speak, and they have the right to vote. So yeah, it's interesting when you see people like Sheikh Gumi posting reels and posts from American influencers. Every single time, it's somebody on the far left wing. It's somebody that's a radical homosexual, a radical transgender. It's if they lived in his neighborhood, he would order them stoned to death. But he's posting their stuff because it's against Trump. So yeah, those are the people that are against Trump. Is the transgenders and the homosexuals and the radical pro-abortion people, the people that wouldn't live a day in Nigeria. Nobody would stand that on any side of the aisle. Those are the people that are against Trump here. And those are the people that would impeach him if they got power. But not one decent human being that I know is against what Trump is doing. It's just the disgusting satanic people.
All right, I have a lot more questions to ask, but Nigerians are eager to jumping on the conversation, so let me let them in right away. Yes, good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Yes, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, so my name is Boma. I'm calling from Canada.
Boma from Canada. Can you hear him, Mike?
I can hear a little bit, yeah.
All right, so go ahead. Boma from Canada. Go ahead, Boma.
Hey, Mike, thanks for the feedback you've given and everything you shared so far about your experiences in Nigeria. So I have a couple of questions. One, looking at the fact that you've talked about you regarding all these people, why do you think there is this underlying hesitancy to take people in IDPs back home, whether it's in Benue or in Abuja or in Borno? Why is there this hesitancy to do it? Because they clearly have the money. They have 9 million to give lobbyists in Washington, D.C., is that 9 million have been applied to the IDPs? These people that have been taken home? That's the first question. And then the other one is, do you think our media is complicit in this? Because some of what you've highlighted, typically media in countries, they go out and they gather this information and they tell the stories of the victims and they show their faces, they give them names. In Nigeria, when 200 people are mass murdered, we don't even get one name. We don't know who the victims are. It just seems like these numbers are abstract and these people are just numbers. They barely exist. There's yet to be one media coverage, whether it's from Arise or channels or wherever, that have gone into the heart of IDPs, showing the faces of the children, the families, the women, the men. So that's the second question for you is, do you think our media is complicit? And then the first one, of course, was, what do you think the underlying reason is for why the existing government doesn't want to try to repatriate these people back home? Thank you.
So the first question is, why don't they help the displaced? If you look on my feed, I've made some points about how Tinubu's wristwatch could build how many hospitals, how many schools, how many homes for displaced people. How much the $9 million could help. Here's another thing. The hoarded tithes and offerings of the 10 richest pastors in Nigeria could take care of 3.3 million displaced people for a full year. So I'm an equal opportunity offender here. The churchianity, the church industrial complex in Nigeria is
but the church are the same Christians we support. So do you think you expect the church
to? We can get into that. Let me get back to the question, but we can talk about that next. But these people, first of all, there's people, and the way I've heard it said before is, we only sign checks on the back, not on the front. That is, we take money, we don't spend money, and they would rather spend money to hide their crimes than to help the people that are the victims. The main reason, I think, is because they're eyewitnesses. I can tell you exactly what happened when Boko Haram took over Ngozi, because I've talked to dozens of people that were there, and they've all told me their stories, and they all correlate. And what does the Bible say? The enemy, the devil, is defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. The word of their testimony is the most powerful force in bringing down evil. That's why these people are suppressed. And yes, the media is 100% complicit. I think everybody knows that. They at the press conference, when I was supposed to lie and hide stuff, Omokri was handing out thick envelopes to the journalists that were there. That's just how it's done. Journalists won't even show up.
You saw Omokri handing out envelopes to journalists?
Yeah.
You saw him do that?
Yes, of course I did. And
Reno?
that journalists won't even come to a press conference unless you pay them. I mean, that's just the way it is. And when you do, again, I have had a press conference when we were doing a groundbreaking of a school in an IDP camp in Abuja and FCT. And I'd show you the video compared to the print journalism. I said, we're build schools in IDP camps. They changed it to, we build schools in rural communities. That's just their. In fact, when I left Nigeria from the press conference, I went straight from the press conference, got in a car, and went to the airport. By the time I got to the airport, the top 4 publications in Nigeria had already published articles saying that I said there was no genocide. The articles were already written and paid for, and they were published. My barrister got them all pulled down, but they already had the story written before I opened my mouth. That's fully complicity. They're either they're scared or they're paid off, or both. But yeah, there is, very, very rare to find honest reporting in Nigeria. They're captured, and they don't want the displaced because why spend the money on those poor people when I can buy myself a new watch? And also, their eyewitnesses, their eyewitness testimony will bring down this whole regime. That's why.
So he did ask other questions. He asked, why he did ask what you think about the underlying reasons. I guess you pretty much attended to all of it. I'm a journalist, and I feel very insulted by what you said, but it's okay. You're absolutely correct to an extent, but I still feel insulted because I do believe.
I fine, but you know as well as I do that and maybe you're different, but I've never been able to get any media anywhere without money being paid. And everybody knows, if you want to do a press conference in Nigeria, you just got to pay the reporters to be there. That's just the way it is. If you want a story on the front page, there's a price tag attached to it. That's how the game is played.
It's not exactly the way you see it. It's
Maybe not your
because of the
publication, certainly not
complexity of the
here.
industry. It's a matter for another day. Another day, I'll take you on course on journalism 101 in Nigeria and how the Nigerian version of journalism. Well, let's quickly go back to
I look
this.
forward to that. And you can teach me pigeon too, like you said.
We'll do okay, so I'm promising here openly that I'll teach you pigeon. I'll go teach you. Now you go tired to learn, sir. I'll go teach you pigeon. It's an open offer. Good evening and welcome.
Hello, good evening, Precious.
Yes, please. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Go straight to the point.
Yeah, this is Dr. Lawyer. Good evening once again for what you're doing.
Okay.
And good evening to Mike, for bringing him to the studio to speak to Nigerians.
Thank you.
Mike, I said to you for what you're doing.
So your line is twitching. We can barely hear you. Some part of what you're saying is breaking off.
Oh, hold on. Let me remove it from.
I hope you're not on hands-free.
Hold on.
I may not wait for too long because there are other calls coming in. Are you good? I can put you on hold and talk.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm fine. So go ahead. Go straight to your question, so that we can release Mr. Mike. I mean, I don't want him to stay here for too long.
Yes. I just want to acknowledge Mike for coming, spending his time to educate Nigerians. History has been hidden from Nigerians, especially this generation. They don't know about our history because of lies and lies and lies. These criminals in government planned it and threw away our history, and now they are just trying to write rubbish for our children to read. Well, just my own is just to tell Mike, please, when you are going to write next letter to President Trump, tell President Trump in your letter that Nigerians love him. We, the Nigerians, majority of Nigerians who are waiting for him to come and deliver us, we are unable to demonstrate and show our love for him. But if we do, they will send the military to come and crush and kill. But when the northerners, those who are extremists, killing Nigerians, when they do, you see them standing on Israel's flag, standing on American flag, and they will write it, Nigerians are protesting against whatever is going on in Iran. We are not protesting. Nigeria is in support of President Trump. Just tell him in your letter that we love him. And we can't wait to see him to come and deliver us from carnage of killings and massacre that is going on in our country.
Thank you.
God bless you, Mike, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So go ahead.
I have to apologize. It's a lot longer than I expected. I am being begged to join. I have a Zoom call with the heads of the. If I can take a 10-minute pause, but it's been 2 hours.
10 minutes max. 10 minutes max. Let me quickly
I'll get back on, but I have to. I've got very important people in Washington D.C. that are waiting for me.
Okay.
And I put them off, and I'm late. So I'm going to log out, but I'll log back in.
Okay, you want to log back in. You want to go back, come back in, so we can give you 10 minutes to rejoin us here.
This is taking longer, and they're my phone's blowing up. They're trying to get me. So let me do this.
I totally understand. So you know what will happen? Let me take the calls and take down their questions.
Okay.
When you rejoin us, you respond to their questions. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right. So let me quickly invite others to the studio to take your questions very quickly. See why Najima, good evening. Comparable facts, good evening. MC, good evening and welcome. Let me just take some calls and then I take down their thoughts so that I'll pass it on to him once he comes back. Good evening and welcome. Hello?
Hello, good evening, Precious. Good evening. Can you hear me?
No, good evening. Just be on the line. I'm trying to talk to some of the people on phone first. Good evening and welcome. Are you there? Yes, good evening. Welcome. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
I am Chris and I'm calling from Turkey. Nice to meet you again.
Prince from Turkey, go ahead. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Go ahead.
Yes, it's good that you were able to bring in Mike to your program.
Thank you.
I've been watching you and it's quite an interesting show so far. Thank you very much.
Even though some of you have been insulting me, it's okay. I'm used to it. It makes me taller.
Because nobody will insult you. No one will insult you.
No, it's okay. I get used to Nigerians.
When we say you are the only, you are our eyes in Nigeria as it stands now, because it's in your platform that we are able to know what is happening on ground. So you see how important you are. Is your show is to us.
Thank you.
Yes. Unfortunately, my Arnold has left.
No, just put down your question. He's going to come back to respond. He just away for 10 minutes thereabout, so he could come back. So just go straight to your question. When he comes back, I'll throw it at him and he'll respond to all of them.
Okay, that's nice. A colleague, someone who spoke recently before my call, actually said most of the things I intend to say, which includes that yes, he has been in communication with those in White House, and he has been outspoken in terms of what's happening in Nigeria, trying to tell the world about what's happening, and being a major critic of the Reno and the killings and everything going on in Nigeria. Thanks to him.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate that. Please, if it's possible, he can go further to let the world and including White House know that those who are supporting these extremists, the killings, are not basically Nigerians.
They are not Nigerians.
Yes, they are basically not Nigerians. Those supporting those killings, those extremists, they are not from Nigerians. Honestly, they are people from a different world. Because a typical Nigerian from the east or from the south will not be supporting extremists. And this is my view, and I believe every other Nigerians who are in support of extremists are of the same view. So if he can take this message to the White House and tell them that Nigerians really love America, and just like the previous caller said, we hope they will come to deliver us or to help us fight our way out of the shackles of this evil troubling us or stopping on us. We will appreciate that.
Thank you.
We are not in support of extremism. We are not in support of killing. We are not in support of terrorism in any way, shape, or form. We just want good governance, or if possible, if that's going to be poor, then please let us go on our way. If it's too difficult to say, it's not difficult for me to say. Let's go on our way. Live a decent life.
I should. That is, you're asking Mike Arnold to please tell Trump that he should separate you.
No. If that will be on the table for discussion, we will so be appreciative of that. We can't continue to live in a country where every day is killing. And instead of condemning it, you still see some people from some part of this country, of that country, supporting it. And they keep telling you they are our brothers. How can a killer be my brother? Unfortunately not. So you see what we are saying. So Precious,
yes,
again,
please.
thank you, because you are our eyes on ground. We learn, we hear a lot of things happening through your program. And as I speak to you now, it's almost 11 o'clock. You can see every day I stay alert to watch your program. So thank you, and I give you all this credit.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hello, good evening and welcome.
Hello?
Yes, welcome, please. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I'm calling from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands. Welcome, sir. What's your name, sir?
Sir, I just want to give kudos to Mike and the way he was talking. But you are doing as if you are not in Nigeria and you don't know what is going on in Nigeria. Yes. You don't know all what he was saying is a part. It's like you are telling him, no, our president. Who is your president? That drug lord?
Hey, no, Sammy, I will not let you say that here.
He said he's writing a letter. He has sent a memo to Donald Trump so that there will be free and fair election in Nigeria.
Yes.
Well, the guys are giving kudos, man.
Okay. Thank you.
He did a very wonderful job.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate the way he's talking, though.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If that's all, if you don't have a question, it's fine. Bye. Thank you, sir. Bye. Bye. You know, say T.Y. Danjuma, forget to ask and say, you don't remember, say they don't come up for our constitution, so you know go fit contest our electoral act. Say you know go fit contest election results because of forgery. I don't know. Hello, good evening and welcome.
Yeah, is this Precious?
Speaking. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is Vincent. I'm calling from Colorado.
Okay.
I just want to highlight the man you had. I lived in Texas for over 20 years. The man you had, just to let people, some Nigerians not understand the kind of person he is. I had friends like that in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, they have what you call pure Texas conservative Christians. If this man decide to like you, they love you.
Oh.
It's just the way they are. No, that's the way they are.
So that means he's doing this freely for no option. Because I did ask him at the beginning, if he listened, what is the need for you for the cause you're pushing in Nigeria? Why your interest? Why are you interested in Nigeria? And he did say that he's doing it purely. In fact, that he spent a lot of his own resources pursuing the Nigerian cause and helping Nigerians. So you're saying that this is mostly the characteristics of people around his area in Texas?
Yes. He's a former mayor.
Yes.
I traveled a lot. I worked for a railroad company. That was way back when I started. I worked for Union Pacific. So I used to travel a lot as an engineer. And these are the people I met. They call them the Christian Belt, true Texas, hardcore Christian conservatives. If these are the men, we're going to invite you to their house. You understand what they talk? You're a foreigner. They invite you home. Their wife will cook for you. They ask you about your country. They ask you about your faith. So that's all I just called to let Nigerians know what that man is doing. He's not doing it for any financial or pecuniary gains. He's just doing it because he likes Nigeria. That's just the bottom line.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. This means a lot. T.Y., you don't learn, Abby. Good evening and welcome.
Hello.
Sir?
Precious.
Sir?
This one not for much.
Hola. I hope so this one don't give you long life and prosperity.
I get them before now.
All right, go ahead. I don't add to rap. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. I agree to you, Ganjuma. Precious, you didn't tell me that somebody was coming in yesterday on your show.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't so sure he was gonna come. So most of these guests
the person that I'm talking of.
Who is that?
The person that was on your show yesterday.
Hell, your girlfriend, promise. No, so we started a new show that is like Step Down. So we started a new show that is like Step Down every Sunday. So you love to join that. Every Sunday, 2 p.m.
I was happy to join that one. Than this killing.
I bring down so that I go use and protect on our mental health.
Precious is getting too much. Sometimes to watch it live, to be hearing that, I say it's better I just listen to it after. Because the moment I just hear the face, I will just switch off. I say after, because the whole thing is getting. Look at the one that you showed the other day. They were firing like you won't believe that.
If I show you the footages of the killings, I mean, a few people who asked me, I sent to their WhatsApp. It's gory.
I saw one of them today. I don't like watching those things because it torments me in the night.
You're correct. And the reason I do what I do, as I said here earlier, it's not because I'm making money from it. I am tired as a Nigerian. T.Y., you will be through this route. I am tired. I feel like Nigeria is such a country where you do not know who's next. And this is in all sincerity. And by not knowing who's next, both in speaking about insecurity and also speaking about, Nigeria happening to you in terms of lack of healthcare, in terms of anything. So it could be anybody at any time. So when I'm passionate about doing this, it's not because you're making money or anything.
Look at the soldiers. They just slaughtered.
So many of them. So many of our soldiers.
Look. I can't get it.
And the worst part, the one will come out, come talk, say they kill them anyhow, they go arrest and keep on corner.
Yeah.
Then the ones who no talk, then go die for inside the battleground.
That complain that the sons and daughters of the political elite should serve.
He's in detention.
Yeah.
Kept incommunicado with his family, from his family.
The whole thing is just annoying every day by day. Sometimes if you just put any radio. Oh God! Sometimes I say it's better I listen to my LBC than here to get the head off of. It's just annoying. You can't sleep. You can't eat. Sometimes you ask yourself, what? If somebody is doing this, and the person will go to bed and sleep. Yeah. And
Quietly, nobody, because it doesn't touch them. I had that one of the retired army officers.
Yes, so it's part of my headline. So when I'm done with this show, I'll give a quick update very quickly because all the headlines are pending till we're done with this conversation.
The question that I wanted to ask to Mr. Mike is
please go ahead and ask him. He would come back and respond. Go ahead.
Yeah, in as much as he did a kind of, I would say that he just paraphrased it. I want it to be something like a pure statement. Is there any way? There's a way. This party that is, I don't want to call their name, just for them to leave Nigeria. This party that is in power for a way to get rid of them. They have tortured Nigerians enough.
Thank you. I'm sure he'll respond to that when he comes back. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. TY, make a let on our talks more because if I continue with phone calls, the phone calls are buzzing. Bring the phone calls coming on, but I'll talk to you briefly once I'm done with a few thoughts here, depending on when Mr. Arnold will join us back. Marvelous. Let me let you go first. You know, so your own day like encyclopedia. In an epistle according to St. John's. Sorry, St. Paul.
Hello, Precious. Good evening. Good evening, Danjuma.
The letter from Paul to the Damascus, to the people of Exodus. Don't mind me. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, comparable fat, and good evening to your viewers as well. What about Mike Arnold? Where has he gone to?
He took a break. He took a short break. He'll rejoin us.
Okay. Well, I don't really have much to say. I just wanted to ask him about the American boots that is in Nigeria, the American boots that are on ground. So why the delay? Why have they not spring into action?
Marvelous. I can tell you in a way that some of the boots that you have on the ground are Marines from the US. And when Marines come any place, not be just training. Something is in the offing.
Okay, something is in the offing.
They could train them all.
That's what maybe they ask now. Say, wait till be the delay because we want to see action. You know, so we want to see action. So quickly they spring into action because
which kind of action you do?
Criminals come off for there. You know now. You know the criminal. You see the ads where the criminals they cost, where they cost for the country.
All right, so I think Mike has rejoined us. Let's see if he's back here, and he did keep to time. Mr. Arnold, welcome back. You did keep to time. Thank you so much. Marvelous. Give me a second. Let me run him through some of the questions that were asked.
I was
presenting
to the board of the U.S. Institute for International Religious Freedom, which is an extremely influential group, and they're studying Nigeria. And I was supposed to be on 20 minutes earlier. They waited for me, but I had a presentation I had to give them.
But are you done with them now? Are you done with them now?
I'm done.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm sorry this took so long. I didn't tell you it's supposed to be 2 to 3 hours shows. Sorry, I didn't tell you that.
Yeah, and I appreciate the grace.
But I like what we're doing because most Nigerians feel like that you're enlightening them a lot and you're giving them a lot of information that they need. So somebody did ask Colin. He said that majority of Nigerians support Donald Trump. That those who do not support him are foreigners that are not indigenous to Nigeria. That's what he said. So, and then he said that you should please tell Trump to, hasten whatever it is that he's doing to help Nigeria. Tell Trump to do so, to help Nigeria very quickly. And someone else did call from Colorado. He did say something nice about you. He said he's used to people. He called them he call them Christian belts around, Texas, that region. And he said, exactly. So he said, true to the words, that most of you do the works you do, not for any kind of inducement, not financial or diverse inducement or concerns. You just do it because you pursue God and you love what you do with your heart because you have self-conviction that what you're doing is right. And so that's a recommendation on your part. And another person did call in and said, please ask Donald Trump to release the records already. And I'm sure you know the records we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then we have someone else on the line. Marvelous, go straight to your question so that he will respond, and then we'll take someone else very quickly. So we don't keep him here for too long.
Yeah, the Nigerians I know here and there are very strongly supportive of President Trump,
Okay.
but not all.
Marvelous, what are you saying? Go ahead.
Okay. Hello. Good evening, Mike.
Marvelous.
Good evening, Mike Arnold. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, he can hear you. Make it short, please. Yes,
Hello?
he can hear you. Yes, he can hear you, and we can hear you. All right. If you can't hear us, that means I have to let you go and speak to someone else. Good evening and welcome. Go ahead now. Caller on the phone. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello. Shit.
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm calling from Dublin, Ireland, and my name is Frank. Yeah, I just want to ask the gentleman a few questions. Like, okay, can he hear me?
Yes, go ahead. He can hear you. He can, very well.
One, we are not compatible in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a country. Yorubas, Igbos, and Hausa are not compatible. We are not one. We don't speak the same language. We don't have the same culture. We don't have the same tradition. We are not compatible in anything. We from the south want to live life, go to work, take care of our family, go to church, pray, and whatever we are doing, we want to take care of our business. We don't want anybody's land. But these people from the north, they want to take over your land and ride you with their ideology because they don't want their people to be civilized. We from the south want to be civilized. And you can see this is two countries, this is two ideas, this is two different people. Can Donald Trump please just come and separate us? We are not compatible. We are not. There is no ways that say.
But you know you cannot be using my platform to seek for secession now. You know now.
Yeah, please.
It's your opinion, no. It does not represent my own, no.
So
got the amalgamation. There is amalgamation. Please, sir, tell Donald Trump, we from the south, we want to live a life that the Americans are living, peaceful life. Go to your work, make your money, take care of your family. We don't want to take anybody's life because of their land. We don't want to steal land from anybody. The southerner people are in the north. They are just doing their normal business, sir. They are just living their normal life. But the people from the north are the one coming to our place. Look at in Yoruba land today, they've wasted more than 50,000 shops. These Hausa from the north, Fulanis, they burn down the shops. And we can't do that.
And your Afenifere movements the other day said that they're now demanding for virgins. They're now demanding for women and virgins.
Exactly. So they are not the people that are buying us. I don't want to use that language on your platform. The terrorists, they are now demanding for our women from the southwest if they capture us. You've never heard about Yoruba or Igbo capturing anybody, or the middle belt capturing anybody. We just want to live peaceful life. But these people say no, they don't want peaceful life. Please, there is no solution than everybody. We want to.
All right, you've made your point. You've made your point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you so much. Mr. Arnold, would you like to react to that quickly? Well, before I take
absolutely. He named one thing he said that wasn't true or right or just or fair.
You believe everything he said?
I heard what he said. He said they don't want to, that they want to live peacefully and coexist, but it's impossible with people who are trying to kill them. Two different ideologies, two different ways to approach the world. One is to build, and the other one is to destroy. One is to give, the other is to take. And the British handcuffed the two together on purpose so it would fail, like they did everywhere else in the world. Now, I don't feel. Here's the reality. Here's the reality. You walk into any office today in Washington, D.C., and you talk about Biafra, they will close the door. I don't know why. Probably because it's just been said 1,000 times and they get sick of hearing it. That doesn't. I'm just saying the reality. I'm not judging it. So what I don't go.
So they're tired of hearing about Biafra. They don't want to hear about it anymore.
So my position is this: let's ride the momentum. Trump wants to end the Christian genocide. Let's use this opportunity to purge the evil, to bring down the darkness, and then you can chart your course in peace. You, if it's decided that yes, we will separate, then amen. If all the evil and the jihad and the Sharia is purged, perhaps a federation would work if it's fair and just and transparent and is focused on human rights. I'm not going to predict that. I'm just saying that the task at hand and the opportunity at hand is to wipe out the terrorists. That's a good place to start. And if we go in there instead of helping them do that and say, Biafra, 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 they'll close the door and it won't get done. First things first, the opportunity exists today to wipe out the terrorists. Start there. Then talk about next steps. That's the reality on the ground in Washington, and you're hurting yourself if you don't pick up on the opportunity right now. Yet people around the world, whoever they are, should be free to live in peace and pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and not have some bloodthirsty radical come and kill them and rape their wife and burn down their home. That shouldn't be allowed. And we shouldn't be forced to live next to people who want to do that to us. They either be taken out or have a fence put between us. That's not partisan. That's just right. Yeah, I'm fully supportive of what the man said, but there's a time and a place for everything. Right now, the time is to wipe out the jihadis while you got the wind in your sails and the U.S. at your back and a president that'll help you do it. Why would you want a separate nation right now with a jihad government with $1 trillion in minerals next door? You think Israel has it bad? Why don't you take out the bad guys first, and then you can have your own nation in peace if that's what you decide? That's where I'm coming from.
Awesome. Thank you. Hello, Daniel. Welcome. Go straight to the point, please. Daniel, are you there? Please go straight to the point. Welcome.
I really want to thank Mike for everything he's doing for Nigeria. First and foremost, I want to ask 2 questions, then draw his attention. I know, yes, the United States of America, they definitely have a lot of intelligence. But today, just like today, a lot of soldiers died in Kukawa today.
Today?
So what?
Soldiers were killed today?
Yes.
Where?
I want to go Kukawa.
Kukawa is where?
Borno.
Here, Borno State.
Borno State.
Yes, I want to draw his attention to something in regards to. I thought maybe as the American people, soldiers are here, definitely they will be able to help the Nigerian military, or maybe we'll start hearing 1 or 2 intelligence of what they are planning to do. Because we down here in Maiduguri, we can't even hear of any signal or anything pertaining to anything that maybe this is the direction in which maybe their mission is here in the country to do properly. Then 2, I want to also ask that is he aware that the United Nations, especially some of all these NGOs, that they normally use this white helicopter, they deal with a lot of mineral resources like californium and all these minerals in Maiduguri. And as such, some of these Boko Haram, especially the ISWAP, because the ISWAP, in one way or the other, I see them as if they are part and parcel of working with some government people. So at the end of the day, they are moving a lot of minerals from here to Cameroon, then from Cameroon, they move it towards France. Is he aware of all these things? Then again, a lot of in the Nigerian soldier, especially in 2003, a lot of officers were being trained by the Sultan himself in Pakistan, and most of them they are going to, in 2 years' time though They will be heading a lot of positions in the country. Is he aware that Nigeria is they're planning a scenario whereby Nigeria will become like almost like Iran, in which they will have their own Islamic military in the country? Is he aware of all these things? Because a lot of the SARS, what they call them, these people in police, crack. A lot of them, especially in Borno State, have been recruited. These white people have been recruited into crack. Is he aware of all these things? This is how dangerous the country have become. And I know definitely the military, the United States of America, the military people that are here, they must have some of all this intelligence. And maybe they'll be definitely be careful with some of all the soldiers that are working with them.
Thank you.
I don't know how Nigeria will come out of this, but I really want to hear some light, maybe if he's aware of all these things.
Thank you.
You.
Thank you. Mike, are you aware of any of these things you mentioned? Soldiers being killed today, the Sultan, training some soldiers that may likely be the new face of the Nigerian military in the next couple of years, and perhaps trying to turn Nigeria to Iran, and the crack thing, but even the exploitation of our mineral resources through Cameroon and other areas, Niger, Cameroon, and other borders. Are you aware of all of those things he said?
I don't know that I'm aware of all of it, but and I didn't hear everything he said, but absolutely. So the minerals are, like I said before, there's three primary drivers of this, and essentially everywhere you go, it's very similar. You have the Islamists, you have the communists, and you have the globalists, and they work together. And the minerals, all the developed world is clamoring for minerals of the future. And largely it's because the populations of these nations like China and elsewhere, they're getting older and older, and there's not enough people in the workforce to support them. So they're very top heavy. And so that's why they get expansionists, so they can get the resources to support their population. And that's happening around the world. And there is a global war for minerals, no doubt about it. In China, you're not going to find a more predatory, soulless, evil, corrupting force on earth than the Chinese in a foreign nation, because they look as everybody else is inferior and it's all theirs for the taking through any means necessary. And that's happening in Nigeria. And
but how possible is it that is even happening without the government of these countries?
The government, that's the thing, it's corruption. Again, your own government report says 10% of $9 billion, 900 million goes to corruption from people that turn a blind eye and to enable it. $900 million a year goes a long way, I would think. $900 million. That goes to corruption from that trade, according to your own government. So yeah, now, and when it comes to minerals, people say, oh, the U.S. just wants minerals. Well, of course we want minerals. We need them. There's only about 5 nations on earth that are customers for minerals of the scope and scale and type that Nigeria has. Do you really want to work with China? Look what they do. I mean, you got to pick your customer, okay? And of those, I think U.S. would be a better, because we actually have laws against corruption, and we actually seek to enforce human rights. I'm just saying the reality. There's a handful of customers. What I advocate for regarding the minerals in Nigeria is that Nigeria build an industrial base so you're your own customer. You shouldn't import raw materials. You should export finished goods. That's how you become a premier economy. You shouldn't be selling to America or China or anybody. You should have the ability to process them and to make things with them. Yeah, minerals are a part of it. The drugs are a part of it. The corruption, it's all
drugs.
It's all a
why did you say drugs? Yeah. Drugs? Why?
It's all part of it. I mean, it's all corruption flows through.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you done answering that question?
Yeah. I like I said, I didn't hear all of it. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, he did say quite a lot of. He said he also.
I know the plot.
Okay. He also did insinuate that there may be subtle plans for an Islamic military, like they have in Iran, and that's a plan based on this set of people that were trained. And he's saying that what are the U.S. military doing since they came into Nigeria? Are they aware of all of this? If they're not aware, he's telling them now that these are plans that are on the way, in terms of intelligence. And there is a particular crack police that have been recruiting swap fighters into the police, and the crack police will in turn, of course, be spearhead the so-called Islamic military, something like that, something of that nature. That's what he said. I mean, these are basically his opinions.
So there are good people with good intentions that are doing their best in the Nigerian military and the security apparatus. There is no doubt about that. Very good people that are willing to lay down their lives for justice. Let me tell you a story from Ngoshe, though. This is the reality, and I've heard this from multiple eyewitnesses that different sources in different locations saying the same thing. There were 6 churches there. Boko Haram came, burn. There was one church left. The men of Ngoshe gathered around it. This was 2014, and they had bows and arrows to defend it. Finally, the Nigerian military came in, and they celebrated. The military's here. They drove up to the church and started killing the men with the bows and arrows. The military did. They finally got to stop, and they said, look, we're the victims. The military personnel said, we were told the Christians were the problem, and we were supposed to kill them. When they found out the truth, they threw down their arms, and they all went AWOL. The whole unit went AWOL to a man because they had been ordered to kill the Christians. If you want to talk to eyewitnesses, and that's a good explosive report a journalist should look into, I can introduce you to eyewitnesses that'll tell you that from multiple sources. So it's very conflicted. You have examples, even contemporary, where they're warned this village is going to be attacked. They're staging, it's going to be attacked, and they do nothing. They'll disarm the villagers, they'll disarm the militia, while at the same time they're arming the terrorists. And this is all documented fact. So yeah, the military is deeply conflicted. And if you look at who's doing most of the killings now, it's the Fulani ethnic militia. They're well armed and they're well trained. Who's arming them? Who's training them?
Quickly bring Marvelous, you were about to ask a question, so that I take on Mr. Mop and T.Y. Danjuma. Marvelous, can you hear us now? Please kindly go straight to your conversation, straight to your question.
I can.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Very direct. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. There. Good evening, Mike Arnold. There. Thank you very much for all you do. We really appreciate you. Thank you for all your help. Understand? So please, my question is this: why is the American boot on ground? Why is it taking them so long for them to act? Because the more they prolong these things, the more this evil continue to spread. Despite the fact that the evil has already spread around, has split all over as well. Because we know that most of these people committing this advoc in Nigeria, most of them are not from Nigeria. They are not from, because Nigeria has an open borders, so anybody can come in, commit a lot of atrocities they want to commit, and move to the next country. Because for me, we've been crying out for this, like they should secure the border, but nothing is done. Like you said, the corruption you talked about, like the solid minerals and everything, they extract them, they do whatever they like, while the people, the Nigeria people suffer for it. So please, the America should help. They should help. And one more thing again, if America can also help to ensure that there is a free and fair election in the 2027. That is very important. That is the key. That is another key part.
Thank
So
you.
that capable hands can take over the country. People that are willing to serve the people can take over. That's another one. And why the boots on ground? Why the delay? So that they should spring
All
into
right.
action, please.
I'm sure
Thank
he's
you.
thank you.
Great,
Thank you so much. Let me
great
Yeah.
quickly
question.
thank you.
Question.
And let me just take a few more calls so you react to most of them at a time. Please help me turn down the volume of your listening device. I don't know if you can hear me over the phone. Good evening and welcome. Go straight to the point. Yes, please go ahead.
And this is the first time I'm calling. My name is Godson. I'm calling from Atlanta.
You're welcome,
And
Godson.
Mike, thank you so very much for coming on to apparently educate most of Nigerians about what goes on in the country that they don't know much about. But I have a few things I know for rush of time. Going back to what maybe the last person said about the separation of the country. That is where I come from.
Well, we have discussed that already. We have discussed that already.
I understand, Precious. Give me a minute, okay? What I wanted to say is this. If you have the ear, Mike, if you have the ear of Congressman Riley Moore, okay? And I'm going to allude to what Martin Luther King said, the fierce urgency of now. And the Bible said, making the most of your time because the days are evil. We want to use this opportunity that Donald Trump is in power to achieve the most we can achieve, because we know that after him, we don't know who is going to come to power. And especially if a Democrat comes there, they're going to pick it back to the Islamists, because, I mean, that's the people they favor. So why not use this opportunity and push hard on the Islamists? Since they said if Nigeria expunges Sharia from their constitution, then there will be separation. Why not push that hard and insist on Nigeria abrogating Sharia from their constitution? And then let's see how that goes. And secondly, and I will leave you alone. Secondly, is there any way America can list all the people that are involved in election rigging in Nigeria, blacklist them, put sanctions on them, and then let's see how it will help us to achieve a free and fair election.
All right, thank you. Mike,
go
ahead and respond.
Those last two questions are very similar. So if I may address them both. Trump is not a dictator. Most Nigerians see the world from the frame that they see. That Tinubu, he can just throw Nnamdi Kanu in prison because he wants to. Trump can't do that. We're a nation of law and a real good constitution, and he must follow that law. So the case against Maduro actually went through the courts, and there was an arrest warrant issued by a valid court. He went and served that court order by taking Maduro. It wasn't Trump saying, "I don't like that guy, go get him." It was a long legal process that was a court order that he was enforcing to do that. It has to be done by right. Okay, you think of Nigeria you'd like to see where there's a rule of law and things follow due process. That's what Trump is. Also, it's a democracy. If he loses the support of the Congress and they cut off his ability to do stuff, he can't just fire them all, and he can't give them all $50,000 for Christmas either. We have to follow the rule of law. The fact that Nigeria is spending so much money on lobbying is definitely a threat to peace and security, because a lot of these Congress people, a lot of them, they couldn't find Nigeria on a map. And so when they say, "Oh, it's farmer herder stuff, it's global warming," you have to cut through that, and you have to prove to them and show them the truth. That's why so many of us are working hard to do this. It's not a done deal. And that $9 million is a powerful thing to fight against. Planning in a couple of weeks, Ambassador Sam Brownback, the top guy on earth for international religious freedom. He was Trump's ambassador at large for national religious freedom in his first term, former senator, former governor, righteous Christian man. He is actually, I'm working together with him personally. We're doing a congressional briefing at the end of this month. And he's inviting congressmen, senators, and media to be there. Pray for that. If you know people in the United States, diaspora, tell them to call their congressman and pass that bill, because that will empower and enable Trump. He can't just go in and say, "Oh, here's Biafra. Oh, here's your borders. Oh, let's arrest this guy. Oh, let's just stop that." He doesn't have that power. And you wouldn't want him to have that power. You wouldn't want any human being to be that powerful. He has to go through the rule of law. He has to do it right. The case has to be built. In the meantime, there is a government there that he has to figure out how to work with. It's better that he's inside there holding them by the throat than outside throwing rocks. And so that's what he's done. That's why I think the file's not released, because it's blackmail. Hey, it is what it is. You got to use the leverage you got. It's what I believe. It might not be true, but I think he's holding on to that because he's got to do something to get that guy by the throat to to do some good. But he's not an all-powerful dictator. He's not God. And here's the bottom line also, and I'll say this, I've said this before. it is a wrong thinking, and it's the wrong spirit to think that your hope comes from some white man in Washington.
I, w- I was I was going to ask that exact question.
Yeah.
I did ask you that earlier when I said
Yeah.
who made the US the senior prefect of the world, and who
right.
made them that, and what makes us think that that anybody would have to rescue anyone in Africa, and that's
We
what
have
I'm
a
asking.
great opportunity to get some good because it'd be harder to do with Obama in office, who is
So why the
rebel.
interference in the first place? So if you know that that power does not solely rely on the US, why the interference in the first place? And that's why people kept saying that Nigeria is a sovereign state. Why the interference in the first place?
Yeah. All this stuff is, we make it simple with a quick conversation and sound bites, but there's a lot of nuance. It's complicated. It's a three-dimensional chess game. And you don't want the American president or any human being to have the power that you're calling on him. Oh, take him out. It looks like that from media reports, but that didn't happen overnight with Venezuela. That was a long, long process, and there was a lot of justification, legal groundwork laid. The case was built, and it went through the court system. And he's new to Nigeria. This is just coming on his radar screen. And they're building that case. And it's difficult when the other side is throwing money and lobbyists at it. And so we're fighting. It's a fight in Washington right now. It's a narrative war. And a lot of what happens in Nigeria is being decided in Washington, like it or not.
You
We're
do
fighting
believe it's a narrative war?
There is absolutely it is a knockdown, drag out, take no prisoners narrative war. There are influencers being bought and paid for. There's these lobbyists and the spin and the lies and the global warming crap. These jihadis don't go in yelling, "I am warm." They go in yelling, "Allahu Akbar." That's not global warming. If there's global warming, just buy them all air conditioners that'll end. Come on. And it's not farmer-herder conflict because not one farmer has killed one herder. It's just the farmers that get slaughtered by people yelling Allahu Akbar. Tell me herders that ride motorcycles with AK-47s at night into a village. That's not a farmer-herder conflict. That's a lie to hide the truth, and that's what's being pushed in Washington. So yeah, there's absolutely a narrative war, and the results will be measured in dead bodies, just like if it was a hot war. Yeah, so yeah, it's a fight. Trump's not just holding back; he's trying to figure it out. And he's trying to build the case, and it's in a dynamic environment, and it's not a done deal. But let me ask this: what would happen if Trump were impeached tomorrow, or died tomorrow, and Biden or Obama, their type, got back in? Would you just give up and say, "Oh, we're done"? Take advantage of the help you got, but God, if you want change, stand up and get it. That's what freedom isn't free. And your hope doesn't come from a white man. Your hope doesn't come from Washington. Your help can come from a white man. Your help can come from Washington, but that's not your hope. That's just a resource that's available right now, and you better well use it, but it's not going to happen if you're sitting there passively. Trump doesn't pick people to rule. He backs people who are already moving the right direction.
All right. So, Mike, you did say something. You did say something earlier about a free and fair election in Nigeria. How do you think the U.S. would help push that?
Well, and you can research it. It's precedent
while not interfering.
Oh no, it would definitely be. It wouldn't be interference. It would be benevolent interference. Okay, and it would be with an international coalition to say, look, it's a lot easier to get a justification and to get support for ensuring elections than it is to drop a bomb. Okay, so it'd be a lot easier politically and legally. And you could work with indigenous groups to raise up and train 178,000 poll watchers and equip them and get them out there, and then monitoring every step along the way. It's been done in smaller nations. It could be done there, and I guarantee it'd be cheaper than the cost of 5 Tomahawk missiles, and a lot more politically benevolent for everybody, including himself. So when I was just on with the hot top people, the International Religious Freedom, just 20 minutes ago, what I told them is the solution is a free and fair election, and that it is doable, it is precedented. And if that were to happen, not only would this evil regime be pulled down, I believe Nigeria would have a new constitution and would rise to global prominence like it should.
All right, because someone did ask that question here and said, how will America help make our elections free and fair, since this is the since it's a bedrock rather of democracy and progress? How will they ensure that happens?
Precious, can I ask him a follow-up question to that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, let me thank you, Mayor Mike Arnold, for your various interventions in helping to address the various problems that we have, insecurity problems we have. Thank you so much for risking your life. Thank you for everything you've done, and may God continue to strengthen you. Now, my question is there anything that the U.S. can do to ensure that all those who are behind the rigging and electoral fraud that we have seen, particularly in 2023 election and in the ones that follow, is there anything that the US can do to ensure that those people are sanctioned so that we don't continue to have a repeat performance of this in subsequent elections? That's one of my questions. Thank you.
I would think so. I don't know all the nuance of the law, but in a nation that claims to be a democracy, I believe that the international community and the U.S. have standing to help ensure that democracy is valid, that the votes are valid. I'm not an international attorney. I'm not an attorney at all, and I haven't researched that aspect of it thoroughly, but I've researched enough to know that it is precedented. It's been done in other nations, and if it's been done in other nations, it can be done in Nigeria. And yeah, there should be. I'm an advocate for, and again, this is precedented. I use the term Nuremberg trials because that people know what that means, but there's been other examples of that throughout recent history. When there is genocide, when there is this kind of totalitarian, murderous regime, and Tinubu is guilty of genocide by his denial of aid to the displaced. That is grounds for conviction of genocide. I'm in favor of Nuremberg trials. I think once the righteousness is established and the people stand up and the light is shining, I think they all need to be held to account and at least imprisoned, at least, if not completely done away with, legally, righteously, not in anger, not in revenge, but for justice, like it was done after Nazi Germany.
Yeah, the other question I have for you, if you don't mind, again, let me say, first of all, thank you to Precious. So we have an elephant in the room. That's why you see so many people asking questions. I wish I could get hold of you so I can give you some beautiful dish of traditional dish, goosey soup and pounded yam. But, just to say thank you.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, thank you. But, looking again at Nigeria, someone who has traveled extensively, particularly in the north and in those areas that are affected by insurgency and so on, I want your candid opinion. Some of them you have tried to address, but if you are looking at Nigerian government and trying to advise this present government with respect to insecurity, what would you say to them as a way of solving this problem? A lot of money is being spent, people are dying, the whole country is fixated on, every day you hear news of people being killed and so on and so forth, and death doesn't look like anything anymore in Nigeria. So against that background, is there something that you would want to say to the Nigerian government and to our northern leaders that can help to maybe put an end to this increasing level of insurgency that we see, particularly in the north and other parts of the country? Thank you.
Sure. And if you look at you look over my feed over time, even Omokri, after the press conference, after all of that, on the way to the airport, I messaged him calling him to repentance. I said, "You're on the wrong side of history. You're lying, and you're going to go down in history as the Joseph Goebbels of the Nigerian Holocaust if you don't get on the right side of this." Then those 4 articles dropped. He dismissed me. Only then did I go after him. I gave him a chance to repent, and I've done the same with this government. I've done that with Tinubu and the others. I can show you the WhatsApp that I've sent to Tugger and Idris and Akpabio and Rabadu. I used to chat with them on WhatsApp. I said, "Look, you're on the wrong side here. Trump is going to come. You better start telling the truth. You better start working for justice. You better recognize the displaced, or your days are numbered."
And what were their responses to you?
Started attacking. I'm trying to help, And the people in power, I've called them to the truth. I've called them to repentance. And there might still be chance, but Tinubu's gonna have to say, okay, I know this guy are guilty. They're done. Put them in prison for life. And we know this is happening. We know this. We have a problem here. We have a problem here. We need help with this, and we need help with the displaced. If he were to do that, the international community would rush with open arms, with love and benevolence to come and help. But he's done the exact opposite. He's done the exact opposite. But look, I didn't start by attacking. I started by encouraging and helping and calling to repentance and enlightening and speaking truth. And they still refuse. They can't deny that they know the truth. They just don't want it to be told because it threatens their cabal.
All right, but I was going to ask. I was going to ask. You said you've spoken to a lot of these people about this and told them to be on the path of truth. What was your reaction and response to you?
Well, with Omokri, the next thing was 4 articles all of a sudden were dropped in publications in Nigeria that were lying about me. That was his response. They just don't want to hear it. They don't reply. They don't argue. They're just done with you. You know.
But what government will be comfortable to have their people murdered in their numbers? Not just murdered, but murdered in the most horrible way in their numbers. What do you think is going on? I don't know. I mean, you seem to know more about our country than us. So could you tell us from your findings what it is that may be going on? Because the kind of death and atrocities you see these people commit are so heinous, and you'll be wondering who gives amnesty to people who people who commit this kind of offenses. So what do you think is going on?
So 2 things. First, an ideology wrapped in a religion that says it's okay to kill people who disagree with you. It's a good thing. Your God wants you to kill people who disagree with you, who stand in the way of total submission of your
So all of this is about religion and disagreement.
No, I'm saying that's one aspect. I said there's another aspect too.
Okay.
That's one aspect. Okay. The other aspect is what you would call a sociopath. Okay. A sociopath is someone that has no empathy. They don't care about others. It's all about themselves and their own enrichment. Adolf Hitler was a sociopath. There's a lot of, mass murder. A lot of people, even it's a trait that if modulated can make a good general or CEO. A general has to send people knowing that they're going to die. That's hard. They have to have a thick skin, and it has to not get to them. They have a sociopathology, but they've channeled it for good. You have the people in power in Nigeria are sociopaths. Nobody else matters. They're lesser people. If they have something I want, I will take it. If they get in my way, I will kill them. I don't care because they're lesser. It's not me. It's about me and my 3 million naira watch and my estate in London and the power that I have. And this is the mentality of dictators since the dawn of time, since Cain killed Abel. It is a purely self-centered sociopathology that is the mentality that drives genocide, that drives tyranny. And Nigeria is a sociopathic tyranny. Tinubu is a sociopathic tyrant. I'm just being clinical and factual about that. He doesn't care. He doesn't care at all. He can't. He doesn't even act like he cares. He's a sociopath.
Mike, has anybody tried to induce you or try to offer you some gratification so you change your stance towards Nigeria?
Well, when I was in Nigeria for the press conference, they wanted me to lie and cover up what was happening. Omokri said, "Oh, you're never going to worry about money again. You'll never fly coach class again. You have all the right friends now." Yeah, absolutely. They've tried. Yeah, not since then. I think they realized that I'm immune to that. Because you know what? How do you threaten a guy that's prepared to die for the cause? And how do you bribe a guy that has nothing and is content with it? I'm not a wealthy man and I'm perfectly content with my life. There's nothing they could offer me that because I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I violated the truth, if I went against God. So my peace of mind, I think they realized that after October. So I've been actually In fact, it was a very high ranking U.S. official that said, "Mike, you got to start carrying a gun. They're going to try to kill you. It's not unprecedented." So I carry a gun now. Thank God for the Second Amendment, right? But yeah, I couldn't fly to Nigeria now. I wouldn't come home alive. You know that. But hey, it is what it is. I know I know where I'm going. So what difference does it make? You know, but you know they're not going to. They've tried absolutely, yeah.
All right.
My last question. My last question. Sorry, my last question. Do you see hope for Nigeria?
Oh, absolutely. But my first trip, 2010, look, I grew up Lutheran. I didn't grow up charismatic, and I don't consider myself charismatic necessarily. So all the terminology like prophecy is thrown about willy-nilly. When I say it, I mean it. Okay. I received the word of prophecy that what man calls the dark continent, God is raising to be the continent of light. In our generation, with Nigeria as the vanguard, I believe it's the front line. You saw a glimpse of it in 2010 when it was the only nation on earth where radical Islam was being pushed back and the economy was booming. And you see it where Nigerians go and resettle, where they have freedom. They rise to the top. They are always entrepreneurial, ethical. They assimilate. They're beneficial. They're philanthropic. Nigerians are amazing people, brilliant people. And they have amazing resources and amazing geographical location. And all that's holding them down is the stranglehold of the Islamists, the globalists, and the communists. And if that stranglehold is broken, I believe Nigeria will rise to be a preeminent nation on earth. I believe that it will eclipse what's now. And I'll leave it with this. It was a couple of years ago. I was in Nigeria, and I felt led by God. I was speaking somewhere, and I released the anointing of David. Okay, remember when Saul was king, and he went against God, and he raised up the high priest to go and anoint the replacement. And he went to his Eli, right? The 7 sons. And he said, "Oh, it's got to be this guy. You know, this is the leader. I went all through the sons." And the high priest said, "No, it's none of them. Oh, there must be another. Oh, you can't mean that one. You can't mean David out in the field with the sheep. He's stinky. He's
you're talking about Samuel, not Eli. Samuel going to Jesse's house.
It was the sons of David's father.
Yeah. Yes, Jesse.
Anyway, Jesse. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. Remember, I told you that, Precious. Jesse. Samuel said, "There's got to be another." And you can't mean David. Yes, I mean David. And he anointed David. I believe the Davidic anointing sits on Nigeria. It's the least one anybody would expect. But I believe the anointing is there to rise to be the leader of the world. And I think that'll be a good thing. I think the world, I've begged Nigerians to send missionaries to the United States for years. If the character we see manifest around the world where Nigerians get established, if that were able to be channeled in their homeland, it would become a first world nation in one generation, a leading first world nation in one generation.
All right.
I believe that. Absolutely. That's what I'm fighting for. I'm not fighting against evil. I'm fighting for good.
You know, it's interesting, Mike, because Reno is also a pastor and a believer like you. And man.
Reno doesn't believe in anything but his stomach. He's not a pastor. Are you kidding me?
Well, he preaches a lot.
Other than Omokriism. He's a slimy, conniving, flip-flopping fraud. And he's the shambassador. And he got paid with that job so he would flip-flop and support the guy that he swore he could declare in court and win in court, declaring this guy a drug lord. But now he's climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in honor of President Tinubu. I mean, give me a break. The guy's a whore. He's a cheap whore.
Who?
One Nigerian that'll disagree with me. I challenge you.
All right, comparable facts. Let me bring you on. Go ahead with your question to Mr.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Arnold. I'm calling from California, USA, precisely San Diego. It's honor to have you on this platform. I've been waiting for the day you come. So God bless you. Please, don't relent on what you're doing. You know, particularly when you come to Nigeria. So, having said that, I listen to everything. I listen to everything you said in reference to Nigeria, in reference to our present governor. I mean, Tinubu we have right now. You know, what we have right now is more than tyrannic government, because previous government has been very tyrannical, but not to the level of this man we have right now, which I call an autocracy. That's what he's practicing. But having said that, he did exactly what he did. When he was the governor of Lagos State. He brought the kind of hegemony he has now. Before the hegemony into the total of Nigeria. This is what he's practicing. So let me go straight to my question, sir. The question I want to ask is two-part to this. What are the measurable benchmark or the timeline the United States is using to evaluate whether the Nigerian government is actually improving protection of religious community? And the last one would be, why did the previous U.S. government, which is under Biden, I believe, remove Nigeria from a particular concern when at that particular time, this atrocity going on right now was still going on? Why did they do that? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It's a great question. First of all, I'm not privy to the inner workings of the State Department.
I was going to also say that you're not a government official. So
I'm not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I can conjecture on that. But here's the reality. Obama, most Nigerians, when you mention his name, Obama is the devil. And I agree. See, America is a democracy. It's saying, comparing Goodluck Jonathan to Buhari, that's the same as comparing, Trump and America to Obama. It was a different leadership. It was a different cabal. Obama hijacked it. He did a lot of illegal things. And if the American people knew what he was doing in Nigeria, they would have put him in prison. But Obama had an agenda. And I will say definitively that the blood of every single person slaughtered in Nigeria in the last decade is on Obama's head. He engineered that. He sent his right-hand man, David Axelrod, to get the northern Muslim warlord, the mediator for Boko Haram, Buhari, who called for global Sharia law. Obama hijacked the electoral process in the media to get that man elected. And Trump's trying to undo a lot of the evil that Obama did. That's part of what motivates him. He did a lot of evil around the world. He airlifted literal pallets of U.S. $100 bills, billions of dollars to Iran, to the Ayatollah. Obama did that. So yeah, it's don't blame it all on the U.S. It was Obama. Again, globalist, Islamist, and communist. Obama fits all three. And so Trump's trying to undo that. And I'm trying, I'm trying to expose it. People are finally realizing what Obama did. But if the American people knew what he did, they would have thrown him in prison. He did it without the American people's consent. It wasn't the will of our nation. It was him hijacking the nation that did that. So don't blame it on us. Blame it on him. We're trying to fix it.
All right. Thank you. Mope, I believe
No, my last question, which is very important, please. You forgot to ask my second question. My second question, let me be very, very fast. I know you've been on this place for a long time. What measurable benchmark or timeline is the United States using to evaluate whether the Nigerian government is actually improving protection for religious communities?
I have no idea. And I am.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And I don't know. And then we're trying to push it. Again, we're in the middle of a narrative war. And I think they're just trying to clear the fog and find out what's really happening because, Rabadu says, oh, it's great and we're winning. It's safe to come home. Here's $300. Come home. And then they get wiped out. It's playing out. I think they see it. I'm making sure that trying to make sure they see it and they see the truth. But it's a fight. We're in the trenches. We're fighting a narrative war right now. And again, the results will be measured in dead bodies, just like any war. And so keep speaking the truth. Keep posting. Every Nigerian, shine the light. Go to an IDP camp. They're not homeless. They're not bums like the government says, like the media says. They're not vagrants. They're displaced people. Go hear their stories and tell their stories. Post their stories. Shine the light. Keep that because we're listening. Trump's listening. And if you're silent, all they're hearing is Tinubu and his paid henchmen, like the city boys. Keep talking, keep posting, shine the light. If you're in the United States, call your congressman. Tell them to vote on the Smith-Moore bill. Lives are at stake. But I don't know the benchmarks. I wish I did. I wish I could set them.
Thank you again. God bless you, sir, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're right. Now let me take three more cost marks, and then we'll call it a day. Good evening and welcome. Hello, good evening from Portugal. Welcome. Can you hear me over the phone? You're muted. Good evening and welcome.
Yeah, I can hear you, Precious.
Yes. Welcome. Go straight to your question, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to give I want to contribute, give my own contribution to the program.
Go ahead, please.
Can I ask Mr. What's his name?
Mr. Arnold.
Reno.
Mr. Arnold.
Mr. Arnold, sorry. So I want to ask Mr. Arnold. Mr. Arnold, America is in Nigeria now, and they can see all the atrocities that the Northerners are committing in that country. You see, as I think last week, was it last week? Yeah. They went to attack, I think, 4 barracks. Just, could you imagine a group of terrorists coming to America and attack 4 barracks and take over the barracks and kill over 40 soldiers? Will that happen in America, sir? No, it will never happen. It can't even happen in American streets, not to talk of people we have the effrontery of going to a barrack. What kind of country is this?
So please go to your question.
We are not one. These people, all they want is to Islamize Nigeria. That is their agenda. That's why you see them, they don't care how many people they want to kill before they get that. They can kill more than 50 million just for them to get that. Because their forefather, the Sultan of Sokoto forefather, said Nigeria belongs to their forefather. That they will dig the Quran from northern part of Nigeria to the southern, which is the western part of Nigeria, that is the Yoruba in Lagos, that they will dig their Quran in it, and Allah will take it for them. That is the agenda, sir. Please, the solution that we are asking for you, from you, please, is to come to that country, come to our aid. You can see how the Yorubas are living their life. We have Muslims, we have Christians in our family, we have the traditionalists, we live together. Blood is thicker than water. We can never kill each other. But these northern people are spreading this virus all because of their agenda, recruiting people from our tribes so that they can use them against us. Please, before it gets to this stage that the America will not be able to control it, please just come and divide us, because we want life in the southern part of Nigeria. They want to take life. Thank you.
Thank you. You made your point. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm doing all I can. I want to make this point. I meant to make it earlier, but what he said about the soldiers being killed, which is tragic, in the recent action in Iran, where you've seen, I mean, it's one of the most sophisticated military operations in history, really. I mean, how many thousands of sorties are flown a day and all that. America has lost 6 soldiers. 6.
Yes.
And yesterday, their bodies came back to the United States. President Trump went there to receive their bodies and to pray over them and mourn for them.
Hell. I'm sure if our military receive this kind of treatment, it will boost their morals.
That's what a leader does. That's why he's not sending boots on the ground, because he values human life, and any one lost life is a tragedy. If Nigeria had a president that cared about human life, you wouldn't. If Nigeria had a president that had those same values, you wouldn't have these issues. It's just a fact. He's a sociopath. Compare that to Donald Trump. I mean, you got Nigerian people, officers being hacked to death, and he doesn't say a word about it. And it's being videoed and played online. He says no word about it. America, in a massive operation, loses 6. He stops what he's doing. He goes, receives their bodies. He hugs their widows. He makes sure they're taken care of. That's a leader. That's what Nigeria doesn't have.
That is leadership. Leadership.
Let me bring Henry on. Henry, welcome. You're our last caller. Welcome to the show. Go straight on to your question.
Welcome. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'm very happy to see Mr. Mike. I always follow him on Facebook. I see most things he does. I just want to appreciate him because one, the reason why I'm saying if he doesn't like us, he won't be writing all those things. And I believe even President Trump, they are seeing all those things. And I like the way he has been putting everything on the face of our crooked leaders. I just want to thank you. I don't have much to say, but I'm very, very happy that you are on this platform. So, Precious, thank you for bringing him, because for him to come, I mean, this is your platform, already, everybody's seeing you, Precious. Those who have not seen you, for him to be in this platform, I'm so very, very happy that you brought him, Precious. Thank you, Mr. Mike. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So, Mr. Arnold, moving forward, to what extent do you intend to keep pushing for the liberation of your fellow Christian faithful in Nigeria?
And I'm not just pushing for the liberation of Christians, I'm pushing for the liberation of humanity. I'm pushing for coexistence. I'm pushing for peace. Okay, so I'm not just saying cut the Muslims out. Not at all. I said early on that the Muslims who are being killed because they won't join the jihad, there should be monuments.
Yes, and you said that most of them are the ones who refuse to join their extreme values.
There should be monuments. Yes. They should be memorialized, and there should be tributes to them. So it's not. I'm not just saying, yes, I'm a Christian, but this is not about skin or tribe or religion. Okay, this is about justice and peace. I will do it as long as God tells me to. I am simply following what He has put in front of me. I'm endeavoring to do it step by step. I don't want to get ahead of Him. I don't want to get behind Him. I believe I'm being led by the Spirit of God, and knowing what if you knew how bad off I was right now financially, everything I've had has gone to support these schools, and I'm not a wealthy man at all. I think a lot of
so these your schools. Is that something I can do? We have a lot of people, Nigerians living in the diaspora. So I don't know what we can do. I don't have all the finances in the world myself. But because I also have a couple of projects I'm embarking on for some of the IDPs. So if there's something we can do, let's reach out to your school. I mean, if there's a way we can help, is there a way we can help out? I don't mind.
Yeah, so we have if you go, the easiest way to find it is mikearnold.org, MikeArnold, Mike Arnold, right there.
That is MikeArnold, Mike Arnold.
.org, and you can navigate to our schools, and there's a way you can give in the United States, or you can give in Nigeria, and 100% goes to the front line. We have, by the end of the month, we'll have 1,100 full-time students, displaced children. Here's why this is.
And are these kids attending are they in school for free? You're not paying?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% free, and it's
serious in Nigeria. So you're championing, you're funding this for free. Who teaches them? How do you pay the teachers?
A lot of it's out of pocket, and then I speak. I go speak at churches. I speak at Rotary clubs. I speak around, and we have faithful people that give $20 a month or $50 a month, sometimes more, and we package it up and we send it over there. It goes to the teachers and it goes to the front line. There's no overhead. There's no waste. And here's the thing: there's somewhere best estimate between 10 and 12 million displaced Nigerians right now. And the big agencies that study this say that between 50 and 60% will be radicalized without intervention.
I was going to also mention that I don't know if you saw a video today of young, I can't play that video here because I'm not permitted to, I put up the faces of kids out there. Young Nigerians wearing the uniforms of our slain soldiers, forced to wear the uniform of slain soldiers, and they have recruited them as fighters. In fact, more and more young Nigerians are being recruited as fighters, and this is very dangerous for our future.
That's why Western education is forbidden. That's what Boko Haram means. They recruit the uneducated. And think about it. If there were 5 to 6 million more jihadis by 2030, which is what will happen without intervention, that's not only the end of Nigeria, that could be the end of the world. Imagine ISIS and Boko Haram with 5 to 6 million more, with $1 trillion in minerals at their disposal. That's what we're looking at. That's the reality. That's the ticking time bomb, and the fuse is short. You must, and the testimonials, though, my God. Look at my Facebook. I posted just 2 days ago a testimonial from a young man from Ngoshe. He was 6 when they came through. They threw bodies in his well. They had to drink water with blood in it. A 6-year-old child. He's lived displaced for 10 years. Now he wants to be a doctor so he can go and help people who are sick that can't afford it. The testimonies, with just a little intervention, just a little love, just a little hope, they go from wanting to kill to wanting to rebuild. And we're going to have to do that on a wholesale basis in the next few years if we're going to save anything about Nigeria. That's why it's so important and so diabolical that Tinubu denies it, because that's the jihadis of tomorrow. And so every little bit helps. It doesn't cost a whole lot in the big picture. And you can give in Naira straight, go straight to the school account. Whatever you give in the United States, I just package up, I send it straight over there. And it all goes to teach these kids. So go to mikearnold.org, click on the Arise Academies, Africa Arise. And on the giving page, there's the account in Nigeria, and it goes straight to the schools. If you're in the Bridget area, you can go visit them. You can see
the website www.mikearnold.org. That's it, right?
You can take contact off and just mikearnold.org. Yeah, but yeah, they'll find it. If you get there and you want to find it, you'll find it.
I was looking at your website, as it were.
Yeah, you were on the contact page because you contacted me.
Oh, okay, the contact page. Okay. Sorry, I was way ahead of myself.
Navigate around.
Okay, but while we're trying to contact that, if you can just send me the website via WhatsApp message again so that I can publish it. But while we're doing that, let me quickly show Nigerians this video of young Nigerian young kids forced to wear the uniforms of our slain soldiers that he just killed. And these are kids that have just been recruited to this very dangerous thing that they are doing. And it's so sad to see this kind of thing happen. Hey, that's a video there. That's a video there. And this is very sad. So very, very sad.
I'm going to post the direct link.
Okay, please do so.
Let me see if I can find how to do this here.
MikeArnold.org, that's all.
That'll work. MikeArnold.org will work. Absolutely. They can find it from there, because right on top of that page is a link that you'll find that says support schools for displaced children. It's the top thing on the page when you go to mikearnold.org.
Okay, let me do that very quickly. So you can see the video I was telling you about. They're all kids, children, meant to wear the uniforms of our slain soldiers. This is horrible. I don't know how we can stop this from furthering, because I don't think any country can make a meaningful progress with that.
Multiply that by 5 to 6 million. That's what you're looking at if there's not intervention. That's why this is so important. You wonder why I don't respect your president, because that's happening right now on a wholesale basis, and he does nothing. All he has to do is recognize the displaced, call on the international community, and they'll come in and rescue them. But he's letting this happen, and I believe it's 100% on purpose.
Wow. So this is the number one grouse and the only grouse you have with our president.
There's a lot of problems I have with the guy, but if he were to turn the corner and actually try to help and actually care and actually recognize the displaced, actually try to get them home, not to be slaughtered like they just did in Ngoshe, but actually safely home, he could win a Nobel Prize. But as is, he's just earned himself a special place in hell.
Oh my goodness. All right, so Nigerians have just posted that's the link. Please kindly follow www.mikearnold.org. It's on the comment section. Let me pin it very quickly on the comment section so you can see it's pinned on the comment section. Please kindly go through. That's it there. I'm sure that's it. I just highlighted it. That's it. MikeArnold.com.
Yeah.
Yes. So
right on top of there's a big block that says support schools for displaced children. And 100% of what we collect there goes straight to supporting teachers and schools. Our leaders there, they're the most. They put me to shame.
So okay? you're helping us educate some of these children to keep them busy so that they won't be engaged wrongly.
It's not just to keep them busy. When I first went to that camp in 2019, I told you I met the woman who was a teacher, and I said, What do you need? How can we help? I thought she'd say water. I thought she'd say food. I thought she'd say shelter. She said, no, help teach these children. She said they will have strength of character to resist being radicalized. They will have hope because they'll have a vision and they'll have a path out of here. Most of the kids in our schools were born displaced. They were born in those camps. All they know is sewage ditches and shanties. But you walk into the classroom and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they all will raise their hand. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a pilot. I want to be a nurse. Because they have an education, they have hope. How do you fight back a group whose whole goal is Western education is forbidden? Let's destroy it. You fight back by teaching. You fight back by education, and that's why we're doing that. It's the most strategic, aggressive way we can fight back is to love these children and teach them.
All right. So very quickly, someone did ask a question here. He says, I should ask you if you have an ulterior motive in Nigeria. Apparently, he didn't listen from the beginning when I had asked that question, but kindly respond for the purpose of that.
How about this? You heard me. Why don't you respond? You know where I come from. You're a reporter. Report.
All right. So Mike says he does this. In fact, he spent a lot of his personal money. In fact, he is broke right now because of the Nigerian courses pursuing, especially on the cost of educating our young children in Nigeria, like the IDP camps. He's schooling them for free with his own resources. And that is why we have put up his website here. If you can donate to that website. And then please, can you give us locations of these schools so that they can go and look at for themselves? So, I mean, to verify, because you know what they say, seeing is believing.
Look, it's very dangerous. So we have a school in Nukuchingoro, which is in Abuja. We have a school in Durumi, which is in Abuja. We have a school, and we're building a large campus to hold 500 students in Wasa, which is in the FCT just south of Abuja.
Do you have like a Nigerian coordinator that we can speak to? We can also interview him.
Yeah.
So if you can give us a Nigerian coordinator, we interview him here. He can come with footages of your schools and what they are doing, so that so this would help a lot to convince people as to what you're doing in Nigeria.
My longtime covenant brother, known him for over a decade. Like I said, they put me to shame. I've tried to bless him and his family before, and it just flows through them. They live very humbly, and they're 100%. Him and his wife. She has a master's in educational administration, and she gives her whole life, and he does too, in serving these displaced people and building and operating these schools. Live extremely humbly, and everything goes to the front line. Everything goes to these kids. I'd love to introduce you to Pastor Jed DeGrace. A true pastor, a true man of God, a mighty warrior. His wife, Uzomaka, we call her Mama. They are heroes. I pray someday there's statues for them because they're an example to humanity of what selfless service looks like. They're in Abuja. I'll introduce you. You can go meet them. You can have them on your show.
Not a problem.
I don't want to announce all the address and the contact because we have 100 people contacting them. They're too busy teaching the kids. But you can go report on it and you can have them on your show.
Not a problem. I would love to speak with them personally. And when they respond to me, I'll send someone to Abuja. I'm in Lagos State. I'm not in Abuja. I'll send someone to Abuja to do the work and get me feedback. I will do that because I'm very interested. Anything that helps humanity counts me in. I've been in on that all my life. I love to help anything that would, benefit humanity. But very quickly, someone also did ask, said I ask you what you think about the initiative of incorporating repentant terrorists into the society in terms of, amnesty to repentant terrorists. What do you think about that's
okay?
Mission, that program?
If it's those kids you saw with the uniforms on, absolutely.
Those are kids. You can't hold anything against them. They're still young.
Yeah.
Now we're talking about the real terrorists.
Anybody that's pulled the trigger, lit the match, or swung the blade should be executed. No questions asked. They should be gone off the face of the earth. There's no place for them in civilization.
So you do not believe in our de-radicalization
program? Not when there's millions of displaced victims that are being ignored. Why spend 1 naira on a terrorist when there's the victims are suffering and dying? There should be no rehabilitation, no repentance, nothing but termination until the displaced are restored. And then if there's leftover money, then you start maybe trying to rehabilitate. But until then, they need to put down. Look, Winston Churchill compared radical Islam to human rabies. Okay. And very apt. Okay. And there's no cure for rabies. Okay. We do have a cure. In this, the Holy Spirit, they can come to Christ for sure. But barring that, only thing you can do to a rabid dog is put it down. Anybody that swung the blade, pulled the trigger, lit the match should be summarily executed with no mercy. They should be removed from the face of the earth because they're incompatible with human society. But those children, the victims, the ones that have been drug along, we should love them and embrace them and serve them. Yeah, absolutely. But not until the victims are taken care of first. There's priorities, and the victims should always come first. Don't you think?
All right. Okay. But very quickly, I don't know if you've seen this video. I'll play it on the background just while we're wrapping. So I won't bore you with because it's spoken Hausa language. Now, this is a community in Kaduna State that is calling for help and crying that their community has been sold to Chinese, and that the Chinese have told them to leave their community, that the entire community has been sold off. Have you heard of anything like this before?
No.
What if we sell people's community and ask them to relocate to somewhere else?
Yeah. Well, again,
you sell the ancestral homes. The ancestral homes have been sold and they've been asked to relocate because the Chinese have bought off their homes, their community.
I doubt they made that choice willingly. Maybe somebody in charge of them made that choice and got real rich doing so. But there is no force on earth that I've found that is more predatory, soulless, and corrupt than the Chinese operating in Africa and elsewhere in the world. Anywhere outside of China, they are predators. They're soulless. They're sharks. They don't care at all about anybody but themselves. They will corrupt. They will kill. They will poison to get what they want. That's China. And I'll back that up anywhere you know, with anybody, anywhere, in any court. Okay, they're predatory and soulless. Anytime you say China and it has anything to do with human beings and somewhere else, it's usually a bad thing.
Thank you so much, Mike Arnold. Would you oblige me next time if I call on you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I'll connect you with my folks in Abuja here on WhatsApp, and I'll let you follow up. I just don't want to publicize it too much.
I totally understand. I totally understand. For their safety too. I totally understand that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And Nigerians, please look up www.mikearnold.com. MikeArnold.com. Mike is MikeAR. Sorry, MikeArnold.org. Please. Mike is that is www.mikearnold.org. Please look it up. Look at the how you can help. It is our own Nigerian children he's helping educate. So you can help him educate our Nigerian children. If you have a thing or two, please kindly do so. And you would have helped the future generation and you would have helped the future of this country. Thank you, Mike, for what you're doing for our country. I appreciate you. I look forward to hearing from you in the nearest future. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you real good. Nigerians, that's the size of our package tonight. Oh, I haven't brought you guys update of what's happening in the country today. I'll do so in a very short, quick update very, very soon. But at the meantime, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who's been part of the show. It's always a pleasure to have you guys and to discuss what's in the apple for our country with honor. See you. Make we continue to talk for the growth and development of our nation. You see, not only this country we get to call our own, we don't get any other country but this country. And this country, if all of us get to their life and survive for this country, now all of us handy we will contribute to make them work. So make we join hands together to make our country work well. My name is Precious Enyi. I love and I plenty. I go see on shortly when I go do my quick update. I want to do quick update because a lot of things happen for Nigeria. I never given an update. And you know, saying me now, I'll be on our Proco lady when they bring an update of things that happen for the country. So I'm bringing you quick updates in the next 30 minutes here about. I love you guys. God bless you. Good night. No, not good night. I'll see you shortly.